Hey, this is George. Before we get started, I wanted to say that the morning after we recorded this episode, we received the terrible news about the passing of former Megadeth drummer Nick Menza. We reconvened later in the day to talk about Nick, and this has been added to the end of the episode. So if you normally tune out when we start talking about where to find us online, stick around, there's more to come.
Metal's my religion, and yeah, it's my dope. Standing in the thunder on stage in the pouring metal rain. What a feeling, baby! The lights are exploding. Metal's my religion, and I don't mean my God. Metal's my religion. Yeah, it's my dope. It saves me from the politics, baby. Metal's my religion.
Hello, and welcome to the Metalheads podcast. My name is George.
My name is Buke.
My name is Jay.
This is Will.
Hey, Will's here.
That's right. Wait, who left the door open? Will got in. God damn it.
Hey, Will, always brings our numbers up. So,
It does.
when it's a little slow, we gotta, bring in the heavy weapons.
Yeah, unfortunately, John's not here with us, but John was here without you, so I guess that's fair play, right?
Yeah, and I was literally just for the last 2.5 hours hanging out with John at my old brewery at Fairwinds, along with his wife Jen and the great Dr. Lang and her husband Pete. So I got my good fill of John. We were hanging out for the last 2 hours drinking beer.
Was he all like, "Oh, you're going to do a podcast"?
Oh,
Did the guys say anything about me? How come I wasn't invited?
It was weird because I had to tell him, like, oh, so we were talking about having this one guy on who's a friend of mine, then that got changed, and another guy on who's a friend of mine, that got changed, so I decided, like, well, I'm going to do it anyway.
So this past week was the 6th anniversary of the passing of Ronnie James Dio. Got to tell you, it does not seem to get any easier every time we mark this anniversary. I'm like, damn, 6 years?
That's a long time.
It is. It's the same thing with Peter Steele. That was just last month.
I remember it all too well. My Facebook post that week, because it was rumored he was going, was "If Dio goes, we all go."
Yep.
A quote from a bad movie, but yeah, man, fuck. I think we should go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I want us to do
some umbrage that to me, hard to compare Dio to Peter Steele. Dio is the man.
Oh, yeah. The only thing is that they passed within a month of each other.
It's true.
So.
They have that in common. They're dead. I think we should I want to do a top 3 or top 5 sometime where we do across the Dio catalog, favorite Dio records. Could be Dio, Sabbath, Rainbow, whatever. Should throw that one out there sometime, because when you sit down and try to go through those, it's hard to pick what you love the most.
Yeah, well, I think Buke and I probably did one at some point, but it was just the two of us. So we can do it again. And I don't know.
Easy.
I don't know if we did it across all of them. We may have just done Dio albums.
How about this? Everybody give me a favorite song. And I know that's on the spot, but I think I know Buke knows his.
Yeah, I know mine.
Sounds like Will's ready to go.
I'm ready to go.
Yeah, you can pick a song or a record, but if you had to have one, what would you hold on to?
Sacred Heart album and
choice.
Probably song.
Will?
Last in Line song, Last in Line album, Last in Line song. I remember being a very, very young child, picking that up on cassette and loving it.
I think I know what you're going to say, Buke.
Yeah, mine's Stargazer.
Yeah,
I think I've mentioned numerous times before.
Rainbow.
It's just an absolutely perfect song, top to bottom, and I think it really shows off how amazing his voice was.
He was, and that's a good choice. That was kind of like when Dio became Dio, too, by the way. That's the first real Demons and Wizards track, you know what I mean? For me, go ahead.
I was going to say, sorry to interrupt you, is that he, right up to that Heaven and Hell stuff, yeah, he couldn't hit it as well, but he was almost right there still. You know how the singers lose a lot as they age? Not him.
No, you're talking about Heaven and Hell, the group, not the album.
The group, yes.
Reunion, yeah.
The group, yes.
Well, for me, it would probably be, and this is a weird choice. I think a lot of Sabbath fans wouldn't say this, but I'd probably take Mob Rules, the album, and any number of songs on it.
That was the first time I heard Dio at all, and I didn't know it was Dio, was Mob Rules, because I got that from the Columbian Record and Tape Club.
Yeah, in the days when you didn't know Black Sabbath had Ozzy too, that was because I think my introduction to Sabbath was Dio Sabbath too. George, you had mentioned that one time.
Yeah, well, I think I got them together together, we sold our soul for rock and roll, which of course was a collection of Ozzy songs, and Mob Rules. I think somebody was like, hey, you should get Black Sabbath. And so I ordered a couple of Black Sabbath things. And I was a little confused by the fact that there were different singers because I didn't even know that Ozzy sang for Sabbath at that point. It was just, this is Black Sabbath, check it out.
And to give you a little thumbs up there to you, Jay, Sign of the Southern Cross would be my number 2 Dio track right off of Mob Rules.
Mm-hmm.
I think we had that conversation once, and I didn't know that, and I had said to you guys, man, I was just remembering how great this fucking song was, and Buke was like, dude, it's like my fucking favorite. Which is, we're also trying to get Will to make us a beer called Sign of the Southern Cross.
I was just about to say that. I still need to make a beer called that, and there's a possibility at my new brewery Atlas that I could pull that off.
Maybe you can talk a little bit about your new brewery here before too long, Will. It'd be kind of cool if you could, because people haven't necessarily heard about your change on the show.
Yeah, so I'm now brewing at Atlas Brewing Company. It's in Washington, D.C. It's in the Northeast, in the not-so-nice part of D.C. In fact, some homeless guy came in. I gave him some of my food, and the guy stole my wallet, and several $1,000s later. So I've been dealing with that for last week. But so Atlas Brewing Company, I'm the lowest guy on the totem pole there in a weird sort of way. It's just kind of helping them out. In the meantime, I am the assistant director of heavy metal operations instead of the director. They already had a resident metalhead. Sam Puffenbarger is the resident metalhead who has more tenure there than I do. So he's a great dude. He just revamped our IPA recipe, the Ponzi, and it's tasting delicious. So I really enjoy working there. We're doing some good stuff there. I will make sure that I bring several cases of Atlas Brewing Company beer to Deathfest next week.
Bring us some of that IPA.
Week.
It's weird. It's like next week.
Hey, Will, my band played a show the other night, and there's a guy that we have a fan, and he came from Pacifica, California to see us.
Is it the one fan?
The one guy I've ever been to a show when we played a show, and he came in wearing one of our T-shirts. And this guy drove from Pacifica, which is a little ways, to come and see us in Oakland. And there's this place where he knows us from is called Winter's Tavern. Long story short, one of the brewers that he knows through this tavern was featured in Decibel, and he knew you. He knew of you. He knew you from the article. This buddy of mine.
Which brewery?
I don't remember which of the guy he was referring to, but he was like, yeah, and he was featured in the Decibel magazine. And I said, yeah, I got a buddy, Will, who was featured in that. And he was like, yeah, fuck yeah, I read the article, dude. And he knew all about you.
Yeah, it's weird because either me or my breweries, plural, has been in 5 times now in Decibel.
You're way famous. We're lucky to have you.
No. But I wonder if it's in, is it Wayfinder?
I'll find out, dude. I want to.
Oh, also up in the area, there's a brewery up there that made a beer for Prosthetic Records.
Was this here on the West Coast, you mean?
Yeah. It's definitely in California. Maybe
well, it's funny. I do think he said it was tied to a label.
Yeah.
So that might be
it. Yeah. Maybe if Adam listens to this, the author of the Brutal Truth column in Decibel, if he's listening to this, he's gonna kill me because I don't
remember his name.
No. I remember his name. I know Adam very well, and I know the column he writes. It's just that prosthetic. One of his latest articles was that prosthetic brewery made a beer for prosthetic records, and I think it just actually won a medal, I think, in the World Beer Cup. It's kind of a big deal. I want to say it was Wayfinder, but I may be off. Anyway, beer tangent. Sorry, guys.
Tangent. No, man. I wanted you to talk about your situation now, so that's cool that you shared it with everybody. Maybe get some people stop by.
I'm at Atlas Brew Works, Washington, D.C. I'm loving it. It's a temporary gig for now. They brought me in to kind of help out and do some stuff and get them up to speed, and so I'm kind of like this weird an elder statesman of the brewing community in the D.C. area to kind of just help out, but I'm the least tenured guy there, so I have this awesome position of having no responsibility but having a big impact. So it's
You're Piss Boy. Did you ever see History of the World Part 1?
Oh, no,
Piss
no,
Boy!
no.
Piss Boy!
I'm like the piss boy, but who gets to make the buckets. How about that? I get to design the buckets, but I'm piss boy.
All right.
Before we get off the beer subject, is anyone drinking a beer right now?
Not right now.
Nope.
I just got back from lunch. I'm too full.
Fail.
Just me.
I'll have one in a while.
I'm just drinking my whiskey.
All right. Well, I am drinking, in case anyone cares, I am drinking Permanent Funeral by Three Floyds. It's their Pig Destroyer beer.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Once-
Hey, you're going to hook me up with some of those metal beers while I'm there.
You bringing us some Pliny?
Yeah, I'll tell
I
you.
will bring
this.
some plenty, yeah.
You
Sweet.
bring us some beer from the West Coast.
Yep, I'll hook you up.
And, dude, I will hook you up. I have my fridge is full of them because I'm
Awesome.
so far behind on my Brewheads column. It's kind of weird. I have so much beer in my fridge. I have so many half-written columns, and I just don't.
Yeah.
I keep
You're
seeing
not
this-
the only one.
You're not. I keep seeing this one at the beer place I go. There's a real cool crafty store here, and it's called Danish Metal. Have you had that?
Yes, actually, almost. I have 2 of those bottles.
Okay, because I was going to try to surprise you and be like, I bet you haven't fucking heard of this, but I doubt there's anything you haven't heard of that I've seen.
No, there's definitely small breweries that do tribute beers. Like my last brew, like literally just where I went, Fairwinds Brewing Company. We do a Sessions in the Abyss beer, which I just got a mini growler of, and we'll probably drink it throughout this podcast. But not many people have heard of Fairwinds. A new brewery, only open a year, but that's a metal beer, but it's not nationally known. So there's tons of them out there. So
Oh,
surprise.
yeah, definitely, dude. It's crowded. Dude,
Yes.
is that all whiskey, dude?
No.
It's this giant, like,
I was like, fuck.
9-inch
It's like a
tall
big gulp
tumbler.
glass.
Yeah, it's half and half.
All right. So, any of you guys ever listen to Helmet?
Yes.
Yeah.
Fans?
No, I'm a no.
Yes.
They have that one hit.
Yeah. Well, I haven't listened to them in years. I remember when they first came out, they were labeled when I don't want to say when they first came out, when Meantime came out, which is I believe the second album. I remember like Rolling Stone or something like that reviewed it, and they called it a death metal album, and I laughed. I was like, okay, I mean, I was still new to death metal in like '94 or whatever it was when it came out. You know, wasn't a big death metal fan at that point, but I knew enough. I was like, this is not death metal, just because his voice is kind of slightly harsh. But anyway, the reason I brought it up was I think it was actually Decibel magazine I was reading the other day, and they have a column where, you know, they take somebody in a band and they give them a bunch of songs, and they don't like tell them what it is, and they have to talk about them.
I know exactly what you're
Oh,
talking
yeah, that's a cool article. What is it? Where's that in?
This one's in Decibel. Somebody else, one of the other magazines does it too.
I've seen it before, too, and I like that.
And there's a band called Wrong, which is just put
It sounds exactly like Helmet.
Sounds exactly like Helmet, and they just put out their first album, and every song that they gave him was a Helmet song.
Yes.
And so that like piqued my interest. I was like, why are they giving? Why is usually each song is from a different band, and so the fact that every one of them was from Helmet made me scratch my head. And I listened to his band, and I was like, oh yeah, sounds like Helmet. Okay, so they're busting his balls a little bit or something.
Yeah, they were kind of being dicks in a nice sort of way.
Yeah, and but that made me go, you know, I need to go back and listen to Helmet again. And so I threw all their albums on my phone. Really, Meantime was the only one that I ever really liked. So I kind of want to go back and listen to some of the other ones again and see if there's anything good there.
Are they still around?
I don't know that if they are, they haven't released anything in a while.
All right.
But-
I will say this. So back in the 93, 4, 5 time frame, I was a big Helmet fan. I loved it. Meantime was great, and the album before
Strap
that,
It
Strap It On was pretty good. After that, I think they put out Betty, which was not that good. in my
That's what I
opinion.
thought. And then after that was
Meantime-
Aftertaste, and that's where I stopped buying the CDs.
Meantime was a great album, and the band Wrong it's kind of like the gruesome equivalent of Death. Like they are.
Well, that's a good endorsement, though. I mean, so you approve, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I approve of Wrong, and I saw Wrong play live a couple months ago. They opened up for Torch at the DC 9 here in DC, and they killed it. I mean, they were great, and it was sort of like, if you like Meantime Helmet, this was a band that was kind of like a tribute to them. And I don't know if I'm sure they do it on purpose. I mean, it sounds a lot like Helmet through and through.
Yeah.
To the point that it's almost like a tribute band, but they're good at it. Just kind of like Gruesome is very, very good at sounding like Death, and they're unapologetic about the fact they are trying to be a somewhat Death tribute band. So I like it.
I can stomach that, dude. I mean, actually, George, another recent example is, and there's a lot more going on in this record than just this, but the level of Tool on the Cobalt record in places is it's insane, really.
Yeah,
there's
isn't it?
places
I mean,
where it could,
the groove that is in this music on the Cobalt album is so.
And the choice of chords and everything, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, some of the songs are nothing near Tool, but it's okay. It works. It's not at all. Somehow it doesn't feel like a ripoff. And I agree with you too about Gruesome Will. I mean, that's fine. Which, by the way, the new thing is out.
Yeah, I was listening to it to the brewery and from the brewery with my kids in the car.
I put it on this morning.
I think they were headbanging in the back.
Nice.
Did you get it yet, Buke?
Yep. Just more of the same, which is great.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that.
And we're going to get into an interview with Matt Harvey of Gruesome in just a few minutes that Buke did out on his own a couple weeks ago. But before we do that, I want to get into something. I didn't actually include this on the script, but I should have. The fact that we are, in fact, going to Maryland Deathfest in less than a week.
The boys are going to be together, man. That's the best part.
First time ever, all of us.
First time ever. Every voice you hear right now will be standing in the same room and standing in a parking lot, standing in a bar, presumably sleeping in the same bed in some cases.
Yeah. All of us are going to get in one bed. We'll actually have like 4 beds available to us, but I think we're all going to kind of just stay in one.
Now some people get in a car and they call shotgun. Somebody's going to have to call like big spoon, little spoon.
That's right.
Who's sitting on my lap today, boys?
Well, our top 3/top 5 is based on this today. We'll get to that when we get to that, but I'm super psyched. I was telling George it's going to be a week of metal, brews, and bros, you know?
Yeah, man.
Can't go wrong, dude. It's going to be so much fun. I can't wait. And I can't wait to see where you guys live.
And George got some T-shirts made for us.
Yes. We had a new logo designed by logo designer extraordinaire, and I'm going to butcher his last name, so I'm sorry. His name's Christoph. How do you say that? Anybody got a clue there?
All right, you're on your own, bro.
Anyway, Christoph is the guy he's designed many of the logos you know. He did the Emperor logo, the Borknagar logo. He did...
Borknagar!
Or Borknagar, I'm not sure.
Drink.
Most recently, he did Hyperion.
He did the Hyperion one, and that's how we got hooked up with him. The guys in Hyperion gave me his contact, and I was like, "Hey, hook us up!" And he designed us a new logo. He's actually in the process of designing a second logo.
It's a bitchin' logo, by the way.
And it is, and you can see it on wearemetalheads.com. And so anyway, I just got this logo last week, and we were like, "Hey, let's get some shirts made up real quick." So hopefully, at least one of the days at Deathfest, you'll see a bunch of dudes wearing the same shirt.
That's how you're going to find us.
And that's how you'll find us. Now, I'm not sure if this is going to post before or after Deathfest. I'm going to try and get it up before Deathfest because, once Deathfest happens, it's going to be a while before I can get around to it. So, so hopefully you're hearing this before Deathfest.
But let's mention Neutrino will be there. John's going to be there. Mark is joining us for a day. Mark of most recent podcast fame. Who else?
What day is Mark going? Friday?
Mark's going to be there on Sunday.
Yeah.
Sunday? Okay.
Yeah.
And of course, the guys on the Nine Circles podcast, Dan, Corey, presumably Kevin.
And actually, you know what? I got to say, we won't say titles yet, but Buke has been earning the shit out of his paycheck this week, and he has hooked us up with a bunch of interviews. So
yeah, it'll be cool to. We'll have to. Don't worry, dude. We will tell you how the show is.
Wait.
But seriously, no, yeah, good job hooking up all these bands. And
we hope it all. I don't want to throw out names in case things fall apart because a lot of these bands are coming in from overseas. A lot of them for the first time, so they're not veterans. With cell phones or international calling policies and stuff like this. So a lot of them only will have, they're relying on Wi-Fi access at the hotel.
Yeah.
So
fair enough, but I think with all the great.
So I've been asking a lot of the guys, what will you be wearing?
Yeah.
This day.
What are you wearing?
Exactly.
I'll meet you by the gates or something.
At least one of the ones that he scored for us, and I really, and I'm not gonna say the name, but is what a band I consider legendary. So I hope that one comes off, and definitely, and it's gonna be fucking cool. So good job, dude. Like you really went out.
Yeah. If it's anything like what you did at Barbecue, I'm sure we'll have plenty of good stuff.
And George told me though. George reminded me. He goes, but don't do what you did at Barbecue. Don't go there wanting to see down and get so carried away with your interviews that you miss.
Yeah, I was like, make sure you schedule things based on when bands are playing. Don't go, he scheduled, I don't remember which band it was, but he scheduled somebody to do an interview during Down's set. And he was like, I don't know what to do. So, I know there's a few bands that you really want to see. So just make sure that you don't schedule anything during those sets.
Yep. So
I'll be your brain for that, Duke. I will be like, you're booked that hour, dude.
So speaking about
I'll cover your
interviews,
ass.
this past a couple weeks back, I'm sorry, I spoke with Matt Harvey of Gruesome and Exhumed, his other project.
What was the
just like
circumstance? Were you at the, was that a show, or I didn't understand where the
just they put out calling for interviews and stuff. Again, their new album just came out, I think yesterday. It was
yesterday.
And Dimensions of
EP.
Horror. Yep, it's an EP. So Ear Split announced, hey, you want to talk to him? So I got in touch. You're hearing this interview just like Will said. Matt is pretty honest and says, hey, there already Death already goes on as Death with other members as a tribute band of Death. Death is one of his favorite bands, and with the most respect in the world, he just wanted to honor his band that he likes and be similar to them.
They did it with class too. I don't
exactly.
think that's a sort of a universally well-reviewed band, and nobody has ever it's just so Death rip-off-ish. Everybody loves it. It's like if there was a new Death record, it would be more Scream, Bloody Gore era, slightly after that era. It's not, we're not talking about symbolic era necessarily, but everybody just is like, these are like lost Death records. I fucking love these.
Yep.
And Matt was saying, each album they do will kind of pick something from Death's catalog and kind of be like that. So it's cool. So mind the audio quality on Matt's end. He was driving to the next venue on the band's tour. So here's my interview with Matt Harvey of Gruesome.
This week's featured band. This week's featured band. This week's featured band. Listen to this band.
Hello, this is Buke of the Metalheads podcast, and I have the pleasure of being joined by Matt Harvey of Gruesome and Exhumed. Matt, how's everything going today, brother?
It's going good, man. Just on the road to an Exhumed gig, driving through beautiful California coast, kicking back. It's a nice day.
Wonderful, wonderful. It's a lot better than the miserable rainy day we're having out here in Maryland. But
oh yeah.
speaking about Maryland and the rain and stuff, let's hope the weather is better, because in a couple weeks you guys will be here on Saturday playing Maryland Deathfest.
Yeah, we'll be live and in person in Bodymore, Murderland. I'm excited, man. Our slot is kind of early, but aside from that, I'm very excited. I haven't been to Maryland in a few years, and it's like just a great place to see friends and catch up and try to get people to buy me beer because I'm in a band. It's fantastic.
Have you made it out to a Deathfest in the past?
Yeah, we played, I think, Maryland Deathfest 2, maybe? There's 3. One of the really early ones, and then I was out there in 2011. And that was a tough weekend though, because I played with Exhumed, and then I played with Cretin, and then I played with Greyfell. So I played every day.
Yeah, that's what we were noticing last year. There were a bunch of artists who were would sit in on 3 or 4 bands, and they were just I had a whole busy day of act to act to act.
Yeah, it was. In hindsight, I would not do that again. I mean, unless I got paid a lot more money. But I mean, I was partying like I wasn't even playing. I was just partying like I was there for the weekend. And by the time day 3 rolled around and I was playing outside in that heat, oof,
it's
a tough one.
Yeah, well, it's for us fans. I know it's not up on stage, but when you've been sitting there drinking beer all day, and you're in that hot parking lot. Comes Sunday afternoon, you're a little miserable.
Yeah, it gets to be an endurance test after a while.
Oh, it does. Reason we're talking today, you guys in Gruesome, that is, have a new EP, Dimensions of Horror, that's about to come out. You guys last year, if it hasn't been made clear to you, to take the metal world by storm would be a understatement, but people loved your guys' debut of Savage Land. How has 2015 and 2016 been for you guys, and how do we end up here at the point with Dimensions of Horror about to come out?
Well, I mean, I'll say this. I have been constantly surprised by Gruesome. I mean, I thought it was like a lark, just like a fun little play through, frolicking gamble through the trees. Like, I just really thought it was like a laugh, And, I mean, we put a lot of work into it, don't get me wrong. But in terms of its appeal, I'm like, we're a fucking tribute band that writes our own songs. And we're tributing a death metal band that already has a touring incarnation, which is a tribute band, featuring members of the band. Obviously not Chuck, as he is no longer with us. And if he still was, there'd be no point in what we were doing, yada, yada, yada.
Of course.
But I was just like, this is like, I mean, it's kind of ridiculous. I mean, when I try to explain it to my coworkers, I'm like, so we're a tribute band. Oh, you guys are a cover band. Well, no, we write our own songs. Okay. Well, is the band still going? Well, no, there's a tribute band, though, comprised of all the other guys, aside from the main songwriter. And they're like, huh. I'm like, yeah, this is like about as niche market as you can get, especially considering it's all death metal. We're still in the world of death metal, which is
we're like the guys in the
niche.
You guys are like the guys in the concert parking lot selling bootleg concert DVDs of that band, just because you love the band and you're trying to keep them going, even though the band is still going in some fashion.
Right. So it's a very bizarre situation, and we've been really very fortunate. I mean, when we started working on it, we approached Eric Price, who's the guy who manages Chuck's intellectual property estate, and he works with Chuck's family, and he is the manager of Death to All, blah, blah, blah. And we said, hey, we're going to do this, or we're planning on doing this. Is this cool with you guys? Is this cool? I don't want Chuck's mom to, see this and think, well, who the fuck are these dicks, making money off my dead son or whatever,
Yeah.
And everybody was like, no, it's totally cool. And, Terry Butler, really loves the band. He came up and played Born Dead with us at a show at Full Terror Assault, and I've been picking his brain already to help me write the Spiritual Healing album. James Murphy came and did a solo for us, Sean and Paul from Cynic, gave us their blessing. And Steve DiGiorgio, he apparently heard our demo and just started fucking busting out laughing, which is about the best you can hope for from Steve. So, Gene came out to our gig in San Diego. So we feel like we've been very fortunate to be accepted by all of these people that are part of the Death legacy. And, whether they like it or not, or, think the band is great or think the band is just funny, the fact that they're, cool with what we're doing, that really means a lot. And the fact that people seem to really like the record means even more. I mean, it's crazy. I'm always just taken aback by how much enthusiasm there is for, Death's style of music, really,
Yeah.
I mean, I can't take any of the credit for it, because it's the most derivative band ever, but,
Well, Matt,
nice.
that's a very interesting thing. I got an interesting question to ask you, right along with what you were saying. Was going into this project, did Robin or Gus or Dan, did you guys sit around saying, this could come back to backfire on us, and people could, call us posers and hate us for trying to do something like this?
Well, I mean, my thing is that I don't really care if people hate the band. I mean, that's fine. It's totally just apples and oranges.
Exactly.
Whatever. Or if people think, I have Death albums, why would I buy your stupid shit? I think that's a completely fair reaction, and I don't begrudge anybody that. The only thing I was concerned with is that I wanted people to know from the very beginning that it's a tribute, and that it's done as fans, and it's done with respect. And that was the thing, because there's nothing tackier than exploiting a dead dude's legacy. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Or, and obviously musically we're doing our best to do it justice and stuff. But that was what I was concerned about. I wanted people to know it was respectful. We're not passing ourselves off as a new band, or that we're not trying to take credit for creating this style that we're living in musically. And, the logo is a fucking homage or a ripoff, depending on how you feel about it. The cover artwork is done by the same guy. Like, it says in the liner notes very specifically that it's a tribute to death, and, you know, Chuck is the person who gets the, you know, most specific thanks on the record, yada, yada, yada. Like, people, my thing is that people should know it's respectful, which is a weird thing for a heavy metal band to be respectful. Like, that's a fucking odd sentiment. It's supposed to be about fuck you, you know, like
it's supposed to be like fuck you, exactly, exactly. Fuck you is ours. But
right.
You know, the one thing that shines through with what you said so far is you guys are not trying to ride their coattails. You know,
I mean,
you know, and the thing is, you got, you know, you're not trying to. You don't need. You're not trying to gain success from them. You just, like you said, you're just paying, you know, homage and honoring them in a sense. And
you know, I definitely like we're riding the coattails to an extent, but we're being really upfront about it. You know what I mean? And obviously, the consumer in the market has the option to take it or leave it. And you know, like, one of the things that I love Bathory, but one of the things that always would piss me off, like, you'd read these old interviews with Quorthon, and he's like, I didn't even know who Venom was. And I'm like, motherfucker, Venom has In League with Satan. You have In Conspiracy with Satan. You have a song called Born for Burning, which is a musical ripoff of Don't Burn the Witch, and it's about burning witches. Like, you are incredibly derivative, and it's okay. It's okay. Just fucking admit it. Like,
just
you're not,
it.
like, I don't know who you think you're fooling, but not me.
Yeah.
You know?
I think I see exactly what you're saying. You would be getting a shit ton of flack if you guys released Savage Land and then now the Mentions of Horror, and you were like, Death who? Wait, Chuck who?
Right. Or even if we're like, I mean, like, you know, people always have compared Exhumed to Carcass, and it's like, you know, Carcass is one of our influences. Yes. It's a very simplistic thing to say, oh, you guys saw Carcass, but yes, Carcass is one of our influences, up there with Napalm Death and Terrorizer and Slayer and, you know, Repulsion and a few others. Like, they're one of our, you know, bigger influences. Sure, that's fair. But to say that we're ripping them off is totally different. You know, but with Gruesome, we really only have one influence, you know? I mean, it's interesting because one of the issues I've had writing is that Chuck didn't do a lot of interviews or a lot of cover songs that really told you what his influences were. You know, like, because it would be helpful to me to know, like, oh, he was really into bands X, Y, and Z, and then I would listen to those bands and see where he got those ideas, and I could translate that into what we're doing. But beyond Seven Churches and Show No Mercy, Chuck had such a distinctive style, it's hard to, like, gauge his influence, you know?
Yeah, I know exactly what you're saying. Now, is Gruesome in your work, is it a pleasant break from what you've done with Exhumed over the years, just playing something different?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, I've always done different things, you know, like we did a couple Decapitator records, which I'm a big thrash guy. I mean, anybody that knows me has probably been irritated by being forced to listen to Sodom.
Can I just say, I love your album, The Storm Before the Calm. Fucking love it.
Oh, thanks, man. Right on. You know, so musically, I like to do different stuff all the time. I mean, I write stuff that's not metal at all, and then I write, you know, I have tons of songs in various stages of completion in my laptop, some of which are like traditional heavy metal, some are thrash, some are more like, I don't know, sad, like mopey goth rock or shoegaze. I mean, I like to just write different stuff all the time. And to be able to take it a little bit further with Gruesome is really cool. And kind of the musical ability and expertise of Gus and Dan in Florida, you know, they both have, you know, recording rigs set up, ready to fucking just make, you know, pretty professional sounding recordings with a drop of a hat. And their enthusiasm for the material has really been like what has propelled this out of my laptop and into the greater, you know, world of reality.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
But it is nice, you know. It also has made coming back and rehearsing with Exhumed these last, a couple weeks, way more fun. I'm like, oh yeah, I fucking love playing shit that's tuned a bit lower and played a bit faster. And like, oh yeah, I get more enthusiastic for that because I'm able to, because I'm spending time doing something else.
And I'm sure there's fans just now discovering you and your work for Gruesome who are probably going back and looking at your older work also.
I mean, I'm sure the record company hopes that that's the case.
Yeah, probably too. So
cross promotion.
So here we go with Dimensions of Horror about to come out. Is this leftover stuff from Savage Land that never made it on?
No, it's stuff that, because with Savage Land, we just were writing, stuff in the vein really of the first 3 albums, and it kind of ended up being most related to Leprosy, I think, because it kind of split the difference between Spiritual Healing and Scream Bloody Gore. And we did have some leftover stuff that is getting repurposed. But with this, I specifically wanted to go back and do Scream Bloody Gore. The only stuff that was pre-written was about 15 years ago. Cole Jones, the original Exhumed drummer, and I, we had a project that we were working on called Cadaverizer. And our goal at the time was to get Cam Lee from Massacre out of retirement. And so we wrote about 7 songs, and it was kind of in the Scream Bloody Gore, From Beyond, a little bit of Autopsy, and then kind of vibe. And a lot of those riffs ended up on Dimensions of Horror and Savage Land. Like the first riff in Forces of Death, which is sort of like our Baptized in Blood, I guess. That's an old Cadaverizer riff, but there's Cadaverizer riffs on Savage Land as well. But
Cool.
That was kind of my jumping off point. But
so,
yeah.
Will the rest of the year, aside from your upcoming shows you're doing right now, Deathfest, how's the rest of the year see you guys? Do you pick up more with Gruesome? Does Exhumed have some dates and album work they're working on?
Well, we have a new record written with Exhumed, and now it's a matter of just putting various other pieces together, partially just getting the songwriter and figuring out where and when and how to do the recording around everybody's schedules. And then, also like we have, we're working on a new record deal and all that kind of stuff. So there's various elements that are, in various stages of coming together for that to happen. But the material is there. And, with Exhumed also, we played so fucking much for like 3 years straight that I think, like any economic situation, the more supply you give people, you're driving down the demand. So I think we were ready for a break, and I think people were probably ready for a break from Exhumed coming to their town every 3 fucking months,
Yeah, it's not to. I'm not talking bad, but here in the DC area, we had this nightclub called Jack's.
Yes, I know Jack.
And there, it was always one of those things when you went there, you're like, oh, hey, look, another Exhumed tour. These guys are coming around again. Awesome.
It's on one hand, obviously, you want to go out and play for as many people as possible, and the more you do that, it will incrementally increase your fan base and
of course,
blah blah blah. But at the same time, you can end up drawing against yourself, which is why we didn't do a Necrocracy headlining tour, because we had done so many support tours, and it just felt like the demand wouldn't be back yet. Not that people wouldn't want to see us, but unless we were able to put together a really stellar package that would price us out of headlining anyway, then it just made more sense to just go out with, we did Dying Fetus, we did Suffocation, we did Napalm and Voivod, and so on and so forth. So it made sense for us to take a step back for a while. Because ultimately we're a death metal band. There's not going to be a single that's going to hit on radio and then we're going to explode. It just doesn't work like that for style music.
I don't think that's a world I want to live in.
Hey, I wouldn't mind the money, but
of course. I would like to see you guys see that success, but I don't want to be walking down the street, see some some fucking mom, rocking out to Exhumed or something. I like it where it's ours. Not that I'm trying to hold.
I have met some moms that are into Exhumed. They're not usually the greatest parents, but they're fun to party with.
Yeah, I was about to say let's talk about those offline. Maybe you can give me a phone number. So, as a man who's traveled around the country and around the world, we've talked about this on the podcast before. Fans here in the States seem to be a little more not as accepting of heavy metal and different genres playing together and things like that. Have you seen the reception from Gruesome kind of be accepted worldwide?
Well, it's tough to gauge with Gruesome because we've been put in a strange situation of our first shows are headlining shows. That's not the way you normally go about it. And so we've been playing, mostly other death metal. And like when we were in California, there's a really good band from Southern California called Skeletal Remains. That's kind of they sound kind of like a mix of like Morgoth and Gorguts, but like all filtered through like the Moore sound, kind of early '90s death metal sound. So I mean, it was just like a perfect match, with us and them, and we were able to kind of request the bands we wanted to play with out here. So I'm not really sure. It's going to be interesting though, because we have, I think, basically a week of shows in Europe and a weekend of festivals, and then we're doing 3 or 4 dates with our friends in Exodus. And it's going to be really strange to see how an Exodus Gruesome show, especially in Europe during festival season, that's like a bad time to play. So I don't know how that's going to go over.
Yeah, I just want more. I want you guys to world domination. I cannot get enough. You will be happy to know last year when I first discovered you guys, like most of us did, of course. You guys released a Savage Land T-shirt, a nice white T-shirt, and of course, us metalheads are like, "Why the fuck are you buying a white T-shirt and stuff?" Well, motherfucker, it's hot, and I didn't want to stand in the parking lot all day in black. Well, I will let you know, I wore this white shirt to Guarbecue last year. Guar sprayed it, with alien blood and guts and everything. It's been ruined, Guar style. Now it's hanging on my wall like a fucking Mickey Mantle jersey hung up here in my office.
That's awesome. Well, we did the white shirt specifically because what's more 80s than white shirts?
And that's what I was telling everybody. I'm like, don't you see? Their whole thing is just this flashback.
Yes, thank you. I mean, it's one of those things where it's a very sort of elaborate in-joke, and everything we do is motivated to kind of get people to that era. I mean, I want to, sometimes I've listened back to the records, and sometimes if I'm not really paying attention, I'm just like, man, it sort of takes me back. I can listen to it more like somebody else's album because it's not, I mean, it is my song, but it's not really my song. I don't know. It's just a bit weird. But I'm a very nostalgic person, and I'm very into the stuff that I liked when I was 13. Still occupies most of my leisure time today. So I don't know, but sometimes I feel like a fucking sap, like it's just some pathetic geezer wallowing in nostalgia. But then, I went to see The Force Awakens, and I mean, it's basically like Gruesome as a movie. You know what I mean? What Gruesome is to death, J.J. Abrams is to George Lucas or whatever. And there's a whole theater of people just reveling in the same sort of sloppy sentimentality. And I was like, all right, well, I guess there's other people out there that feel the same way, And, it made me feel a little bit less like a loser, which is nice.
Well, you don't get to be a metal geezer yet till you start yelling at kids to get off your lawn. So you have a couple more years.
A couple of years. couple of years.
Hey, Matt, I'll let you go here. We're looking forward to seeing you at Maryland Deathfest. I'll give you the last comment. Anything you want to let anybody know where to check you guys out at?
Well, we have. I don't know. I think that we just have a Facebook page, really. Like, I don't think we have Twitter or anything.
You guys got a face? Yeah, you guys have a Facebook. You can go on Bandcamp. Dimensions of Horror
right.
comes out May 20th. So go out and check that out. And again, Savage Land's out now.
Awesome, man. Thank you so
Matt,
much.
Truly, we look forward to hopefully getting to meet you and shake your hand and buy you a drink at Deathfest, buddy.
That sounds great, man. I'll see you in Maryland.
Okay, brother. We'll see you, Maryland. You have a safe trip, buddy. Thanks again for doing this.
All right, thanks, Matt. Take it easy,
brother.
dude.
There you go. That was my interview with Matt Harvey of Gruesome. Dimensions of Horror. Their EP is out now. And their debut album, Savage Land, as my daughter's reminding me, came out last year. So
Bree knows the name of the album.
Yeah.
Those were her first two words.
And since I got so much crap for it, I did have to mention the famous white T-shirt that I bought last year, the Gruesome Savage Land one. And again, that was all just trying to be in that vein of 80s metal that Matt loves.
Wait,
So,
why did you get crap for it?
because it's a white shirt.
Yeah, nowadays you don't buy white shirts. In the 80s, you did. My very first band shirt was a white Megadeth Peace Cells.
I think Buke, isn't there a second part to that story, though? Didn't it get blood covered at
Yeah, it
barbecue?
got covered on Guar. Now it hangs on my office here like a fucking Mickey Mantle
Oh, there it is. Yeah.
jersey.
Mickey Mantle.
Yeah.
So all four of us are on separate Skype, so we're looking at each other right now.
Yeah, so I just showed off the shirt. So that was it. That was a fun interview. So on with the podcast.
Yep, let's get into the news.
Get into some news, some fun news, right?
Always
Oh, yeah,
fun
go
news.
straight to- always the funny stuff first.
Yeah, it's John. I was talking to John, I think it was yesterday. It had to be yesterday. And he was like, God, I hope you have some like good news this time. And I was like, nope.
Did you really?
Sorry, John. So the very first bit of news is that the former drummer for Bellwitch just died the other day.
The young man, and he was indeed former, but clearly he left only because of what must have been an illness or something, because he was like one of the sort of spiritual founders of that band, and he's on Four Phantoms. He's on both the records. He was a very important member of the band. And then when I saw them live, I just thought, oh, they just got this touring drummer or something, because he wasn't there. But yeah, he up and died. I mean, nobody's really been saying what it was, and maybe we won't know, but he must have been sick. Hey, it's all over the place. So I'm sorry. I was very sorry to hear that. In fact, I have his text number. The other member whose name escapes me, and I should drop him a just send him a little note of
Consolation.
Thank you. That's the word I was looking for. And in other soon-to-be-dead news,
Yeah, hopefully this doesn't add to the death toll this year, but Paul Di'Anno was hospitalized for undisclosed issues. His tour was canceled, and we haven't really heard much more about that yet, as far as I know. Hopefully he's all right.
I think his health is kind of a mess, though. I mean, I think that's obvious, but I saw some video footage of him in Japan in the last few weeks, actually, doing a show from a chair. And supposedly he's got really bad knees, but I suspect there's more at play here than that, because Paul hasn't taken real good care of himself. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's not in great shape.
Well, get better, sir.
Yeah, get well soon.
Now, this next one is not a death of a person per se, but it is the death of a band. And I know some of us were disappointed to hear that apparently Agalock has called it a day. They are no more.
Kind of out of the blue, since they've been a little quiet lately. So I would have thought maybe like right after a record or something, but...
Well, they did.
Yeah.
They are just getting ready to reissue like a whole bunch of stuff on vinyl.
Are they? Okay.
Yeah, I know John and I both pre-ordered that. And
Well, they're closing up shop. That's it for them.
they were like, yeah, let's make one last score and then call it a day.
But guys, in 2016, when a band says they call it quits,
Yeah.
how much weight do you put on that?
I think an underground band, there's a fair amount of weight on it. If it was... if it was the fucking Who or something like that, I'd be like, yeah, sure, dude. It's gonna be another tour. But I mean, these guys weren't making a living anyway, and so it doesn't strike me as highly unlikely.
Their last album, Serpent and the Sphere, I liked it a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, they make good records.
Made
So-
good records.
Yeah, made good records.
made good past tense.
They're no longer with us, Jay.
They did. They were. They had the adventurous, feeling of Opeth meets Gorguts or something. You know what I mean? Like they really did. They really hit a lot of spots on the map. I felt though. Too bad to see them go.
Yeah. All right. Well, moving on to the we're starting to head back into the less dark territory now and a little more normal news. It was announced that Devin Townsend Project's new album is going to be called Transcendence, and that's going to be out September 2nd, which is just before Prague Power in Atlanta. They're also going to be out on tour with Between the Buried and Me.
Are they playing
Fallujah?
And Fallujah, nice.
Are they playing Prague Power, George?
Devin Townsend is.
Yeah, that's why I asked, because I thought since it was right before that, it must have been a reason you mentioned it. But that's cool. Have you guys ever seen him?
George and I saw him years back, but I wanted to ask Will, because I know Will and I, of all the guys here in the pod, I probably share the most, music styles with, the most similarity with. Will, are you a Devin Townsend guy, or is he kind of out there for you?
It's kind of out there for me. I saw him live once, and I actually saw him at he opened up for Gojira, I believe. It was the first time that I went to a show with hi, my name is John. And it was kind of weird, because I was there with John, I was there with Metal Chris from DCHeavyMetal.com, and I've never heard of Devin Townsend before. It was not on my radar. I saw him play live, and it was a very entertaining show, but it was a very weird show.
I think he got his number.
Nope.
Yeah.
Was it as Devin Townsend, Will, or was it like one of his
Devin
bands?
Townsend Project.
Okay.
And he was doing this thing like in between songs or during songs. They're not quite a breakdown, but there'd be a slow part in the song, and he'd be like jazz hands, and he would like throw up his hands and wave them, and the whole audience would throw up their hands and wave jazz hands. I'm like, what in the wild world of sports is going on here? Like, am I in a metal show? Like, what? Am I in a Twilight Zone? And I asked Metal Chris, I was like, what's going on? He's like, just the way he is. John was standing way in the back by the control panel board. So I saw Devin Townsend live. It was very entertaining, but very weird. It's not in my wheelhouse. It's not. I don't own any of his records, solo or otherwise. It's
There's
great.
some you'd like. I
Great
guarantee.
musician. It's not my thing.
You know
Are
what
you
he is?
were you a strapping young lad fan, Will?
No. Sorry,
There you
I
go.
don't know if I said it loud enough. No.
So fuck you, Devin
It was
Townsend.
emphatic. Well, he's kind of like a more accessible heavy metal Frank Zappa to me.
Yeah.
Wait, what was
It just-
Devin
just-
Townsend strapping young lad?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't even know that.
I
There you go.
think that was his first band. Is that how he got his start, essentially?
Well, that was his first solo project. The first album I knew him from was when he sang for Steve Vai.
Steve Vai, I know. Steve Vai, I like.
See, there you go.
Steve Vai
Well,
is-
and there's a Frank Zappa connection right there, too.
Yes, of course, because Steve
I
Vai
honestly
used to
didn't
play
know
with
that.
Frank Zappa.
Yeah.
And I
Just-
grew up listening to Frank Zappa because my father loved Frank Zappa. Something about pygmy ponies and a dental floss farm or whatever. It's like,
That's
Don't go
kind
where
of-
the don't go where the huskies go. Don't you eat that yellow snow?
yeah,
That's,
exactly.
I mean, he's a very Frank Zappa type figure in the heavy metal world. He really is. He
Yeah.
just, for one thing, the guy just shits music. I mean, it comes out constantly, and he goes all over the map. He's extremely talented. Not everything he does is interesting. Some of it's just a little bit too twiddly widdly, but some of it's. And then every once in a while, you hear something that's right in the zone. And you're like, "Fuck, this is crazy good." So, which is the same thing with Frank Zappa. The guy had 8 million records, and you might hear one and think it was great, but go out and buy 10 other ones and be like, "What was I thinking?" Because I kind of went through a Frank Zappa phase, and I was like, and then I realized, oh no, Frank was all over the map.
So apparently Danzig is doing the original Misfits reunion shows in Denver and Chicago this fall. I never thought I'd see the day where that happened.
I dedicated 30 seconds of my life and heart to thinking about actually going to one of those shows.
Yeah.
And then I quickly said, nah, it's not worth the money, and I got other shit going on. But I hope it turns into a tour.
That would be nice. I would like to see that. I don't think I've ever seen Glenn do any Misfits material.
Either.
But I saw a little blurb about this, but I didn't click on it and read it. I think there's some reason why this has happened. I don't know if
They
he's
got
really
together. They got together to do. They have a
Coachella?
meeting. What's it? They got together to have a meeting about rights, and the publishing rights and all that shit. And because they've been fighting over money for years, and somehow this meeting just went better. They have to re-sign every 6 years or some bullshit. And some reason this one went well. And by the time they were done hammering everything out, they were friends again, and they haven't been friends for years. And then it just grew from there. And then one of them was like, you know what, we're gonna do this. Would you want to do this? And then it happened. And they both have said pretty nice things about each other. So
That's unusual.
it's extremely unusual.
Usually
Yeah.
Jerry Jerry and Glenn are at each other's throats. I've seen the Misfits twice. No, obviously not with Glenn. I saw the Michael Graves incarnation, which I actually was a big fan of. They opened for Megadeth on the Cryptic Writings tour, and then Buke and I saw them
At barbecue.
Was it the last? Or was it the first one or the last
First one.
First one, yeah. And that one was with Jerry only singing.
Now, Now, Misfit fans, if you ask them what is the air quotes Misfits the lineup, what do people point to?
It'd be Jerry only, Glenn, and the third dude. Can't remember who it is. But it's those. It's the guys who made the first 4 records. Which, by the way, do you know why his name is Jerry only? Because I heard this story not long ago, and it's a great story.
No.
His real name is Jerry Sikowski or something like that. And on the very, very, very first Misfits record, this was before the Devil Lock and everything, they fucked up his name. They spelled it wrong. And then they were getting ready to release the next one, and I'd have to go back and look at what it's Die Die My Darling or something. And they were literally working shit out over the phone. And so they were working out the credits for the record, and they were like, okay, so let me get this right. Lead singer Glenn Danzig, spell it and everything. And Jerry only goes Jerry only. He didn't want him to use his last name. He just wanted him to put Jerry on there. So they put Jerry only, and that became his name from then on.
Oh, that's funny.
It is, and it's kind of like a cool, almost weirdly spooky, good Misfits name.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it was literally somebody wrote down the quote as he said it, Jerry only.
Yeah. I'd love to see some Legacy of Brutality stuff going on.
Me too. Fingers crossed that this turns into something. I would like to see a tour because I would like. That's definitely a bucket list live show for me.
Definitely. So I hate to give this any press, but apparently Sharon Osbourne booted out Ozzy because he was.
But did you see her dress she wore the next day, George?
No.
Did you see her dress? No, I'm saying if we're mentioning if we're
doing the View.
Yeah. If we're sitting here doing gossip talk and
right.
But it's something to talk about because Sharon, we all know that Ozzy's mind being a bumbling idiot. She was his rock, and
Yeah, in one hand, not in one hand, but on one hand, it's kind of a bummer because it's like, wow, she made Ozzy what Ozzy is, and like I said, without her around, he's probably going to be just a walking disaster. But on the other hand, Sharon Osbourne is the Antichrist, and
she made him what he is. You could say that she made him what he is in both sentences, George. She is definitely the woman who kind of got Diary of a Madman and all that shit going, but she's also responsible for the fucking Osbournes. And and I don't care what anybody says. I actually enjoyed that show, but it brought down Ozzy's legitimacy as a heavy metal artist fucking many pegs. So she's responsible for what happened, what ended up being some real cool records, but she's also responsible for him becoming like a franchise.
Jay, I agree with you. She is an Antichrist to me. She absolutely. The way I look at it is she kept Ozzy alive to be able to produce more records, but some of those records after a while that she just wanted more money to go on a shopping spree were not the records. I mean, Ozzy to me after No Wrestler Wicked has been crap.
I think it's been, I think they've literally probably done market research. That's how fucking fake some of those records are to me.
And so to me, Ozzy hasn't been Ozzy since probably 1991.
I think No Rest for the Wicked is the last really good.
Yeah, 25 years. No Wrestler Wicked was a great album. Everything after that is crap. And she keeps putting him out there when he's high, drunk, whatever. He's still alive. And she keeps him out there to make more money so she can go on her shopping sprees.
And she probably still will. Just because they're not necessarily together, it sounds to me like she's still going to be managing him regardless because they just announced that Ozfest Not Fest thing.
I was going to mention that. Did you
Which
guys
again
see
is a
the
horrible
lineup?
idea. It's a worst idea ever.
And so she's behind that. So obviously,
her money.
Yeah.
Well, I want you to follow through on your thoughts on that lineup, Buke.
I was going to say for what Ozfest became the last couple years after the last one I went
was Freudian slip ever, by the way.
Because Opeth is on the Ozfest Not Fest thing.
That's true. Yeah.
Wait, are you serious? They are?
Yeah, but don't get too excited, Will. You got to hear the whole line.
No, I'm not going to say. I'm actually disappointed. Disappointed they would do that.
Ozfest evolved into this really getting away from metal to the more mainstream hard rock.
Exactly. That's why. I'm disappointed. Opeth is on it.
This Ozfest meets Notfest thing. Here's some of the main stage for Saturday the 24th. Black Sabbath, Disturbed, Megadeth, Opeth, Black Label Society, and the opener is Rise Rival Sons. On the Lemmy stage, Children of
By the
Bodom
way,
hate.
when you just named those bands, Opeth does not. Now I'm thinking of old Opeth. Opeth should not be on that stage.
It's weird, right, dude? I mean, it's kind of, honestly, it's not that different from the last few Ozfests, if you ask me. Because the last few Ozfests were sort of like I had to sit through 4 bands to get to one I really wanted to see, which I didn't go to that many of them. But
It's not like a bunch of bad new metal and like one or two
cool
bands that you like.
That kind of supposed to legitimize the whole thing.
Ozfest? I mean, Opeth still plays their heavy stuff live. The Lemmy stage on Saturday, Children of Bodom, Hatebreed, Devil Driver, Goat Whore Huntress, and Dead Cross. The Nuclear Blast stage, Municipal Waste, Cataclysm, Nails, The Shrine, Still Rebel. Now the Knotfest lineup on Sunday: Slipknot, Slayer, Amon, Amarth, Anthrax, Trivium, Dabaton, Suicide Silence, Overkill, Amir, Butcher Babies, Man with a Mission, and closing it out, Whitechapel, Combined Christ, Death Angel, Sim, and Ani.
It's a weird mix. There's like 4 bands where I'm like, it's time to go get a beer, dude.
Yeah, like
They're playing your area, Jake.
That's where this is taking place?
Yep, it is taking place in California, both dates.
You know, southern or northern?
Thought it was northern.
Knotfest is set for Saturday the 24th and Sunday the 25th at the San Manuel Amphitheater in San Bernardino.
Yeah, it's down south. They, the thing to talk about Sharon though, and one of the things I really disliked about Ozfest, you guys probably know this, but that was, especially as it went on, like after maybe the second one, it became what's known as pay to play, and it was like the top 3 bands, and that's bullshit, dude. The top 3 or 4 bands were getting a pretty good paycheck, and half those other bands were there literally had to pay to be on the fucking tour, like it was a fucking gift or treat to them. Which is just, dude, come on, And then there's the famous thing Sharon did about taking Bob Daisley and whoever the other one was.
She's the reason why Bill Ward would refuse to play with them.
Yeah,
she had people throw eggs at Iron Maiden. That's when that was the last straw,
that show, bro.
Yeah, that was in California, Jay. Were you there?
Well, the eggs happened in Los Angeles, but I saw the day before in Mountain View they played, and she was down. Somebody was down front. Supposedly it was Kelly Osbourne, and they were throwing money at Bruce Dickinson when he was doing his rant about this because he was bitching about the corporate sponsorship and pay to play, and they went down there and just started throwing shit, and then it was the next day, so they were throwing shit on stage, and then the next day was when the egg things happened and everything, or like the next 2 days or whatever. But yeah, I was there for one of those shows, and I was like, what the fuck's going on down there?
In my final opinion, I don't expect Ozzy to put out anything decent ever again. But if Sharon is out of his life, it can, in my opinion, it can only get better. Yeah, it may not be great, but it can only be better. She's just all about the money.
I agree, but he won't. But he's too fucking old anyway now, man. He's almost 70.
Yep, 68, I think.
Yeah, and his voice sounds like it. No offense.
Yep.
I like this next news story. Can I take it?
Sure.
I'm excited about this. Dave Lombardo is in the studio with Suicidal Tendencies.
Yes.
And Dave has like an old punk. I mean, Suicidal's not even that much of a punk band now, but he was the big DRI fan, big punk fan. I like this little marriage here. I'm excited about this because I love Dave Lombardo, and I've got at least 4 Suicidal records that I love. I mean, they a lot of people weren't necessarily listening to him as the 90s started kicking in and maybe late 80s, like Laugh Tomorrow, I Can't Even Cry Today or whatever it was, it's good, right?
Love it.
And I know there was one.
What's the one after that?
I'll look him up.
Lights, Camera, Revolution.
Yeah,
Join the Army, record. Man.
Join the Army. That was a great fucking record, dude. Yeah. They didn't get enough credit for those records. So anyway, and I still think Mike Miro is great. I saw them open for, I want to say it was Lamb of God a few years back, and they were fucking amazing. Like they were so good, and I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna go get a fucking Suicidal Tendencies shirt. They rekindled all of my high school enthusiasm for them. Long story short, and Dave Lombardo is Dave Lombardo, so cool. Let's see what happens.
I think it's awesome. I love it. I absolutely love it.
Yeah, and hopefully it'll be cool if he toured with him.
And
is
hopefully
Rocky George still in the band at all?
No,
Chant?
No,
I didn't think so. But
yeah, I think it's been a while since he was involved, but I don't know. But he was the reason they were so had those killer Sabbathy riffs and stuff on the first record.
He's a phenomenal guitarist.
Yeah,
always wearing that Pittsburgh Pirates hat.
Pittsburgh Pirates, man.
Hopefully, having Lombardo in the band
same hat
will give them a little bit of visibility with the new album.
I hope so. I hope so, dude.
I love it. I think it's great.
Yeah.
So Phil Taylor's family is apparently auctioning off all of his belongings. So if you want a little bit of Motorhead Phil Taylor history, then get over there before May 24th and put in your bid for some of his stuff. I got to say though, I tried to do this and I was unable to do it.
Why?
it would not take any of my cards.
Was it really?
Nope. It would go and it would try to process, and it would just be like, it failed. Try again. And I did that like 5 times, and I never got through. I tried different cards, and it's not like my cards aren't good. It wouldn't do it. So, because there was like a drumstick flight case, a little thing. It just says filthy on there, and I wanted to see if I could get a hold of that.
I know it wasn't your cards, Georgian. I mean, but maybe they're having better luck or something now, or whatever. But send me a link to the one you're interested in. I'll take a stab at least from the West Coast and see if that makes any difference.
Cool. We'll do.
Yeah, I'll try to get it for you. Yeah, but that is kind of cool. Georgia and I both looked through that list, and it is kind of neat. There's some cool little, mementos that were personal to Phil, Motorhead type mementos up to and including the fucking Iron Fist that he's wearing on his fist on the back of the Iron Fist record, and a couple other things like a backdrop from the 1916 tour rather, so on and so forth. And then just like George said, these little flight cases that would be a cool thing to keep your fucking metal patches or something in. You know what I mean? And you could tell people that's fucking filthy Phil Taylor's. And some of this stuff was not that expensive, at least as far as the
opening bids.
Yeah,
Probably never would have gotten any of it. But
zero. Anyway.
Yeah. Speaking of Motorhead news, Germany is issuing a limited edition Lemmy stamp. They're making 7,777 of them.
God bless Germany, dude.
Indeed. I'm not a philatelist, but I wouldn't mind getting my hands on a little bit of Lemmy stampage.
I'm sure that I remember that.
Did you have to look that word up, or did you know that already?
Dude, I that just came to me. I was just gonna say I'm not a stamp collector, and I was like, boom, there's a word for that.
And it's
wait. I have no idea what you said, but is that the philatelist is a stamp collector?
That is the word for stamp collector. Yeah.
Nerd alert!
It's not a gay thing, Will.
No, actually, I think it was like a vocabulary word
with that.
when I was a kid. It was like a vocabulary word we had to learn or something, and because it was like a tough, philatelist. You're like, what the hell?
Well, no, for what it's worth, as soon as you said it, I remembered it as a word. So I was like, look at George, pulling one out of the fucking Oxford English Dictionary here.
Totally.
I remember one of my friends rode the short bus to school one day, and he came back and said, like, hey, did you know that there's a word called philatelist?
I think he was saying fellatio.
Yeah, they use that word a lot in the hot tub at the YMCA too. I don't suppose you're a philatelist.
Why, yes, I collect stamps.
Okay, well, I'm sorry, I got that wrong.
Well, let's just say I'm a cunning linguist.
and a pianist. Buke, I think you should talk about the next one.
So, Phil Anselmo's new all-star...
Latest, let's say.
Latest all-star super group, whatever you want to call it. Mishmash of bands. Scour. This time it's a black metal band, kind of black and thrash almost. Released a track.
And it was
what
fucking good.
Yeah,
I liked it. I thought it was cool.
Yeah.
Let's say it's legit is the word that I would use.
Is the purpose of the band to scour the world of non-Aryan people?
Oh.
Yeah, I said it. By the way,
that's dead news, man. Why you got to kick that dog?
Phil Anselmo a pass. I do not give Phil Anselmo a pass.
I don't give him a pass either, but I
don't think we give him a pass.
No, I mean he was stupid. He's taken his licks for it.
He has taken his licks, to be fair.
It's like, oh, he's drunk. It's okay.
No. I think he's dumb in what he did, but I don't.
I don't think that's who he really is.
I don't think he's the kind of person that thinks deep enough about that sort of thing to have an opinion of that extreme in nature. I think he just made a poor choice of sense of humor. And should he get dinged for that? Yeah, and he got dinged for that. But the guy still makes good music. So until he comes and burns a cross on my lawn, I don't think I'm going to write him off yet.
Phil Anselmo Illegals. Does he make still good music?
No,
I'm the biggest Phil Anselmo in the world. Hi, Bree.
He's the biggest.
I'm the biggest Phil Anselmo in the world, and even I can't defend that album. I bought that. That was my most recent disappointment in recent years. Not getting a new Superjoint album, and not getting a new Down or anything, and then so excited for that because I thought it was going to be more like Superjoint. And I went to Best Buy and I bought it and I listened to it and I never listened to it again.
That record was a huge.
Phil does a lot of throw things at the wall, see if it sticks, and,
he does.
and a lot of it falls right onto the floor and just dies because it's just not good. But obviously, Pantera was good, Down was good. I will take Buke's word for the fact that Superjoint was good, and then like pretty much everything else sucked. So it's kind of cool that there's something else that so far sounds kind of cool and completely different. For Phil anyway.
When I saw Venom Incorporated this year, his sort of black, I think it was kind of a black metal or thrash metal, I don't know what it was, but it's a band called Necrophagist or
Yeah.
What is, you know what I'm talking about, Buke? It was a Phil Anselmo thing.
Yeah, Necrophagist.
I'll tell you this. I saw him with Sergey, and we were both just thought we couldn't stand it. It was like being punished. So I'll say this. A Phil Anselmo project without Phil Anselmo in it is even fucking worse, dude. Just imagine the Illegals by themselves.
Isn't it Necrophagia? Isn't Necrophagist the band that was the Obscura guys? Yeah. Necrophagia was the band.
I can never. Boy, it was rough, dude. Watching a Phil Anselmo side project that limps along with no longer with Phil Anselmo. There
was another one, like Viking Crown, I think, was another one.
Guy never stops.
Yeah, but hey, at least he's keeping busy, being creative, even if it's not good. I guess.
Yeah, more power to him.
Have I told you guys how? Let's move on.
All right.
Fair
I
enough.
was gonna go on and tell you how awesome of a frontman Phil is.
Yeah.
Whiskey's kicking in.
Speaking of,
yeah, it is. You know what? I can talk about Phil all day.
Speaking of things that Buke talks about at Guarbecue, the first few bands for this year's Guarbecue have been announced. The only two that matter so far are Lamb of God and I Hate God. There were also some punk bands of which even I can't get behind, so I'm not going to mention them. Hopefully, there will be forthcoming announcements of some better bands.
Well, that's pretty good. That's a pretty good little additions, though, right off the bat.
Oh yeah, definitely Lamb of God and I Hate. I'd love to see I Hate God. That'd be awesome.
I'm actually surprised Lamb of God has not played before. I mean, they're right in Richmond.
Well, the year that he died, the first year we went, Randy was there. He spoke the Friday. Randy performed with Hatebreed the next day. So looking at their website, there's still 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's 7 or 8 bands still to be announced.
Oh, okay.
So can you tell me who has been announced?
Lamb of God, Against Me, American Nightmare, I Hate God, and the Lag Wagon.
Against Me, I think that's the band that has the trans.
Yes.
There's a guy. There's
Yes.
okay. Yeah.
Yep.
And not to make that a cup, whatever. But
No, I actually liked their first album, kinda. But
they opened for Mastodon on the Blood Mountain tour. They opened for Mastodon.
yeah,
And like it's been in previous years, the Summer Slaughter Tour, which the lineup's pretty cool, as playing the day before Cannibal Corpse, Nile after the burial, Suffocation, Carnifex, Revocation, Christian, Florida to Prevail, and Ingested.
That is actually pretty cool, dude. What 4 of those I wouldn't mind seeing.
Yeah.
Are you going to Barbecue this year, Will?
I told Will he's joining us, 100%.
No, I don't have a choice. I have to go. Otherwise, I will be kicked off the podcast.
Yep.
Understood.
It was
Fair enough.
last year was
and then the day after is Black Sabbath.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Back to back.
Where is the Sabbath show? Is it in?
It's at the whatever
Jiffy
it's
Lube or Nissan or whatever it's
Nissan,
called.
Jiffy Lube, whoever owns it this week.
Bristow, Virginia.
Okay, right now.
But by the way, there's a new brewery right outside the arena now, and I know the guys there, so we can go get some beer before or after the show.
Woohoo!
Sweet.
And they say their best nights are when there's a heavy metal concert at the.
I bet they are, dude.
I am going to try. I know I didn't have the money to join you guys when you jumped on and got your tickets, but I'm going to try and secure tickets somehow because I don't want to miss it.
Cool, that'd be awesome.
I don't want to miss Tony, I should say.
Oh yeah, it might be the last opportunity to see him. Well, probably it is. It is the last opportunity to see him. Whether because
It is.
Sabbath is done. So
Yeah, and I don't.
And he's almost done.
well, let's
He
hope
is.
not. But
I actually believe it this time. If Sabbath is done this time, it's because Sharon and Ozzy are divorced, and she's not pushing him out there yet again, one more time.
Yet again, yeah. No, I do. I believe this is it.
Wait, by the way, are you guys drinking any beer yet?
Oh, there's 3 no's, I guess.
I'm
We're
still
really letting
drinking,
you
but
down.
I'm just not drinking beer. These guys are.
Letting you down. I got to save it for the Sharks game. Sharks game comes out 4:15. Sharks game. There's a Sharks game on today, by the way, Bill.
You guys are gonna be the worst friends at Deathfest, by the way.
No. We're gonna let you have it at Deathfest, dude. This is a whole different story.
Yep.
Yeah.
You have
I have to
the art, natural light.
give my liver a little bit of a break, and so that's ready to go for you. I'll have a good time with you.
All right, thank you, Jay.
Oh, dude.
I get worried about you sometimes. Sometimes
Brother, I can put
I
them
think
away.
it's straight edge.
I can put them away. I usually wait till the sun goes down.
He's a night drinker. A drinker of the night. All right.
I'll take this one.
Go for it.
Denner / Sherman of Merciful Fate fame, who you may remember released an EP last year?
Yeah.
Or was it early this year?
Yeah, maybe.
Last year. An EP, not bad. It's definitely them. I personally wasn't totally thrilled with the lyrics. They sort of sound like somebody who didn't know how to write King Diamond lyrics, trying to write King Diamond lyrics. They came off a little cheesy. So call that a kind of 50% awesome record. They got a full length getting ready to come on June 24th, so we'll see what happens this time around. And they said they are doing this because, there's a lot of reasons, I'm sure, but that they released the EP and now this one because they do want to tour, but they just want to have a little more out.
Makes sense.
Yeah, and that I'm totally excited about. I would love to see these guys. Plus, nobody knows who they are, so they'll probably play a small place. Hopefully, they'll come through here. I'd love to meet both of them. Just get my fucking Merciful Fate record signed, because if you've listened to any episodes of this show, you know that's like one of my very favorite bands ever. So, and those two dudes are a huge reason for that. So, I'm looking forward to it. I forgot what you thought of the EP, George. If you listened to it,
I liked it. It was all right. It definitely has that old school '80s flavor about it that I enjoy so much.
there you go. Yeah, and it does capture that. So, yeah, he has one of them, and I think it's Hank Sherman. He has a record store in Copenhagen, and it's always stocked to the top with Merciful Fate records, and you can go in there and buy one, and he'll sign it for you.
Oh,
Yeah, and I was in Copenhagen once, and I didn't know this until after. So,
So Buke, I guess, and you're probably kind of excited about this. Apparently, there's 8 unreleased songs with Lane Staley singing, and they may get a release sometime soon.
Hey, anything I can get with him on, and I'm all on board, buddy.
Yeah, me too, man. I would definitely like to hear this. I'm a big Alice in Chains fan with Lane Staley.
Where do these come from? Does somebody just like
yeah, it's my question too.
going through,
Well, a lot of these bands, particularly that are big bands like Alice in Chains was, they record a bunch of songs, and not all of them make the records. But I don't necessarily think this is the case. I think these were demos because they still have to go back behind them and finish the music. These were vocal lines that Lane recorded, and sort of like I think they did that with like a Beatles album, or maybe it was a John Lennon thing or something,
it was that John Lennon song.
where they went and finished some stuff that he'd been working on.
Yeah, it was. I'm trying to remember. It came out when the anthology thing came out.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this prompted me to go back and read kind of like that last interview with Lane Staley, and God, that was fucking depressing, dude.
You ever read about, not to get sad, but you ever read anything about his final final months and weeks? He
was bad, dude.
Really slipped in, and it shows you like how drug addicted. Like he had wasted all of his money.
He was was 90 pounds
was not leaving the house for weeks at a time.
Yeah, and he was shitting himself, and I mean these are all quotes from him. His body had given out, and he even says like in the last interview, he's like, I know I'm gonna die pretty soon because I can't get away from this. Yeah, it's totally depressing, dude.
And,
totally depressing.
Wasn't it? I want to say it was Mike Starr. I believe
the other guy died. Yep.
Yeah, and he was the last one to see him alive.
Yeah, but that was something that he actually held with him. He's like, I could have done something for him.
Yeah, and he was like,
really?
I saw him and he was in terrible shape, and I should have done something, and I didn't do something, and then the next day or two he died.
Yeah, well, he was going to die pretty soon anyway, so there wasn't anything you could do for him.
It was a couple years later because he was on a TV show, like a celebrity rehab show.
Yeah.
Oh.
And then he died too.
And then he died.
Was from drugs, obviously. Or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Overdose.
So this one just sort of took me by surprise because I hadn't heard anything about this happening, but band Skyclad is working on a new album. Any Skyclad fans out there?
I don't know.
Yes. There's I'm drawing a blank on the album. I'm going to look it up right now, but there's one album I absolutely love by them.
What manner of thing is it, George?
They were an early folk metal band fronted by Martin from Sabbath.
And I think one of the guys from the Curtain Incarnation of Satan is in Skyclad.
Okay.
We looked that up because when we went and saw them, Sergey had he brought a stack of shit to sign when we saw Satan, and he had him sign all the Satan records, and the one guitar player had 2 guitar players, I think, from Satan or in Sky. I gotta look that shit up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
but
I, do,
I can't find. They have a lot of albums. I can't find which one it is, but cool folk band from England. So
Yeah, I like their oldest. I hadn't listened to them in a long time, and as far as I know, it's been a while since they've released an album. But I definitely want to hear what that's going to sound like.
hey kid, what's his name? Will?
Name's William.
Oh, hey William.
Extremely
He looks-
original. Can you say hello?
Just get up from a nap.
Yes, he did.
Shows you got that morning face.
Yeah.
Morning, William. Yeah, he's cranky.
Not impressed.
Let me go back to sleep, man.
He loves his Cookie Monster voice.
Ooh, he's gonna be a good death metal fan.
He is very good at it. Raise him right, kids.
So Gojira announced that they're going to be doing a North American tour with Tesseract. I don't know about the rest of y'all, but I know John and I picked up tickets for this.
Like in September or something like that. It's like wait, it's in the fall.
Yeah, or October, I think, maybe.
I saw a poster for it when I went to see Behemoth, and I remember thinking, wow, that's really far out there at that date. But I'll just say this singularly about them. I saw them on the tour for, I've seen them a couple times, but I saw them on the Death one, whatever that is, Art of Dying tour, and it was one of the greatest shows I ever saw. They were out of their minds. I mean, they looked like they were trying to kill themselves on stage. It was awesome. They played this great venue here called Slim's. It was like one of those tours, like the Opeth Deliverance tour, where a band is really just starting to truly break in America, and they were in a place that was large enough, but probably could have been a little larger, and it was awesome, dude. It was a great experience. My buddy John, who will be listening to this, he always listens to the pod. John was there with me, and it was just an amazing.
screw you, John.
I want to have John on sometime. I told him so, and he's a great metalhead friend of mine, and we've been to a million shows together. And anyway, so I would say this: they certainly get my stamp of approval as a live band. I'll probably go to this show. Have you seen them?
I have not, and I pre-ordered the vinyl, and when I did, they gave me a pre-order for the tour. So I was like, all right, shit. Yeah.
Wait, are you sure you didn't see them? Didn't they play with Mastodon and I guess maybe you guys didn't go to that.
I didn't.
It's Mastodon, Kvelter Tech, and them, I think.
I saw, the only time I've seen Mastodon was Opeth,
Ghost.
Mastodon, Ghost, yeah.
Yeah. Yes, I was kind of confusing it with that tour, I think.
And they just released a new song called Silvera, and I gotta say, I was really digging it.
I like it.
I was really digging it too. Now, Will, who's busy, didn't dig it as much.
Come back, Will, come back.
Sorry, I'm getting a sippy cup full of milk right now. Here, William, come here. So,
Bring your
I
child to
love
work
your
today
previous-
on Metalheads podcast, by the way.
Bring your kids to work. Bring your kids to
Bring
pod
your
day.
kids to work day. This is William. William, say hello.
Not so much.
Oh, that's perfect, dude.
See your horns.
And then she's
So-
somewhat silent, but Bree is within Buke's lab. Anyway, go ahead, Will.
So if you heard probably the previous podcast I actually recorded live with you guys, it was our top 10 albums in the last 16 years. And From Mars is Serious from Gojira is my number one. I love Gojira. When I heard this new song, and I didn't hear the whole thing, heard parts of it, but it just sounded like
Awesome.
No, absolutely not. It just sounded like every album since From Mars is Serious has just gone more and more progressive,
them.
more and more mainstream, softer and softer. And this song, and I will say again, from the limited amount that I've heard it, I just didn't hear that hardcore double bass, crazy guitar action, sliding action that I loved from them. It just just didn't sound awesome.
I'll say it a little different than you will, but I will say this: I totally agree that they haven't topped From Mars to Sirius. I don't think. I do think that's their best record, and I've been interested and enjoyed the other records, but none of them has quite reached that level of. I mean, that record gives me the chills in quite a few spots.
But isn't this record
Tell me,
so
Jay,
hyped
which
though?
spot?
Spots of the record, but I like how you went for that. That's good.
Yeah. We'll
This
find
record
out
is so
who's
hyped.
the
It
spoon- who's the
could.
little spoon. Sorry, Buke. Go ahead, Buke. Sorry.
No, I'm sorry, guys. This record is so hyped. It could be like so many, things that and there's so much excitement for. It could,
Wah, 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 wah.
yeah, it could be like the Iron Maiden.
Yes,
I think-
it could
I
be.
think
It
it's-
could be Book of Souls, and it could destroy me. And I've heard one of you guys, probably George, say this could be Led Zeppelin 4.
It was me, and I'm gonna. That's gonna be my prediction. I'm gonna go with this. This will be their Led Zeppelin 4,
All right, but
or their Power Slave, or their whatever, their Number of the Beast. I really do. I think this could be it, and I got nothing to go on.
I'm not the biggest Led Zeppelin anthology expert, but was Led Zeppelin for their most progressive, slowest,
I like how you turn that around.
Lamest.
lamest album ever? Like, is that the one that had Black Dog and everything on it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stairway to Heaven and Misty Mountain Hop.
You literally took my compliment and turned it into an insult. That was so good, dude. Yeah, is that the one that sucks? And
No. But I'm
You should have
just
said it was
wondering.
their Zeppelin
But
3,
I'll give you
man.
another point of reference. This could be their Master of Puppets.
There you go.
No, there's no way. I
I like that. That was much
Yay.
better in your
I
wheelhouse
love
there.
you, and I will meet you for the first time in like 5 days.
Is the record
And
out before?
I will be the little spoon if you want. However, Matt holding it up to Master of Puppets, Mars is Serious is their Master of Puppets.
Okay.
There's-
It's going to be hard for me to
I'm
argue
feeling
with
this
that.
is their Black Album. That's my feeling.
Actually, see, you're
I
playing
would
a good
be
game
okay with
here,
that.
'cause You got to say, man, I wouldn't. I have to tell you that.
Oh, okay with that?
I
Yeah,
like
George
Black
is a
Album.
Black Album.
You
George is a Black
actually-
Album. Buke's kind of a Black Album fan too, though, aren't you, Buke?
Not one bit.
No, okay, all right.
Not one
Yeah,
bit.
And by the way, so Buke is holding his daughter Bree on his lap. I'm holding my son William on her lap. We're teaching our kids right. Black Album, horrible. Art Serious, great. Right, buddy?
New Iron Maiden, horrible. New
Horrible.
Anthrax, horrible.
Oh,
New Anthrax, we can debate this. The new Anthrax, not that bad.
I'm holding on.
Pretty
to that
good,
one.
actually.
I like it. Yeah, it
Yeah.
still spins with me. I still
We
put it
will
on.
find out maybe 2 or 3 episodes from now when we do our mid-year lists. We will see if the new Anthrax makes it on anybody's list.
Thank you for mentioning that.
You want to go to the old brewery again?
Yeah.
My son just said he wants to go to my old brewery again. That's where
Aw,
we were just at.
I think he wants a Bree's phone number.
Yeah, hey, do you see Bree? Is she cute?
it is cute, dude. Trust me. Answer that carefully.
Yeah, she is. Yeah, correct answer is yes.
She's totally oblivious.
Yeah, it's
Just like whatever.
just like her mommy.
Anyway, the last bit of news we've got, Insomnium are getting ready to release a new single 40-minute song concept album called Winter's Gate in September. And that's kind of interesting news. I mean, Insomnium's a pretty cool band to begin with, but the fact that they're doing a concept record based around one long song, well, that's kind of interesting too. So I guess we'll see how that goes.
A lot of concept records coming out this year. I mean, maybe they do every year, but I'm thinking of Winter Horde and Flesh God Apocalypse. Sure, there's some other things. Triangle, unfortunately, which it has. Yeah, I'm gonna take a step back and just say, George, just like you, I'm a little less annoyed by Triangle after my last listen. That record's not gonna get listened to much by you. I think I really spewed some hate about it last time, but I still think it's just overrated.
That's
The overrated
Shamash.
record of the Shamash, excuse me.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I'm trying to get into it more. Each time I listen to it, I hate it a little less. But it's just kind of one dimensional, and like you said, he doesn't change things up too much, and it just goes on and on and on, and it's 3 albums worth, and it's like, no.
Yeah, it's just too long for what it is. I will, however, probably be wearing my shirt at Deathfest since it's white. Let's do some new releases.
This week's new releases, here they are. Spend your hard-earned money now.
So the first new release is the latest album from Avatar called Feathers and Flesh.
George,
you
I
guys-
remember you were really into these guys. You found them a couple years ago.
Yeah, their last album, Hail the Apocalypse, was kind of cool. It was definitely very commercial in a produced
Commercial kind of way.
Slipknotty, almost new metalish kind of way, but it was also I thought it was well done. It's like if you're going to listen to something that's of that type, that was a good album to listen to because it was heavy, it was catchy. They did stuff out of the ordinary for that style that was just kind of interesting, and I dug the album. So I was curious what this was going to sound like, and I can't remember what the first song off the album that they released was, but it kind of threw me because it sounded like power metal, which was not what they were playing at all. And I got to tell you, I've listened to the whole album now, and it's not as different as I initially thought it was, but it is definitely more metal and
First
less.
song they released is "The Eagle Has Landed."
Yeah, and it's less new metal and more real metal in places.
Okay.
There's still definitely the old way of doing things in a lot of these songs, but it's a pretty diverse album, honestly. It's like they ran through the metal store and they're just slap on all the different genres. And
for all of our real distrust, if you will, of new metal, rightfully so, there's a few of them out there that'll do that every once in a while. They'll kind of pull in some more traditional kind of vibes, and that's cool. I mean, we're glad to have them. If they want to stretch their wings a little bit and see what they can do.
It's not so much the style that I have a problem with. It's the fact that most of the bands that play in the style aren't bringing anything new or original to the style. Yeah. And
but like we've talked about before, you're not going to be able to.
Right.
Yeah, I'll buy that. Yeah.
But,
what can you do with it?
But
what can you do with something that's
and that's the thing is they're expanding on it. They're doing other things other than that. And so, I mean, I'm not saying this is my album of year or anything, or am I? But I got through the whole album, and I was like, all right, well, this is not so bad. And so I just sometimes I feel like we generalize things too much. Me specifically, like when I say,
I was just about to say that. Thank you.
Yeah, I know I do it. I'm guilty of it all the time. Like with metalcore, and that's just more about me being lazy, or because there's so many of these types of bands that suck that it's really a minority to find a good one. But that doesn't mean they aren't out there. And so when something
iTunes is lousy with them, I mean, every new release day on iTunes, there's 10 new bands just like this. But go ahead, Joey.
Yeah, and it's like
I want to interrupt because I had to disappear, take care of my son for a little bit. Are you guys still talking about Avatar?
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry.
And George, were you literally talking about Avatar possibly, maybe not being album of the year?
That was a joke.
I think that he was fucking with us.
Okay.
But I will say this: I
just want to verify that you were messing with us.
Yes.
You know how they have quotes, like when you go to buy a record, sometimes there'll be a sticker on the album, and it says 4 out of 5 stars, Metal Hammer. I want this one to say, "I got through the whole album." George from Metalheads podcast.
Yeah, well, because most of the artists that play in this style, I'm not going to get through the first song, let alone the whole album. But they kind of kept me guessing. I mean, it was an interesting listen. I don't foresee this being in my top 10, though I'd have to honestly, sit down and look at what's on my list so far. And I've only listened to it once, so just by that, there's no way that it's making it on the list because there's too many albums that I have listened to multiple times. But the point is, I think this is a decent album, regardless of what people talk about it in terms of its commercial aspects.
Good for you, man. I feel like that you step a little bit out of your own comfort zone, and you're like, you know what? I'm gonna give a fair shot to this thing, and it paid off a little bit for you.
I give everything a fair shot. I just don't have the tolerance for bullshit that sucks, and so I give up on things really fast if it doesn't grab me. And sometimes that's a mistake. I've done that before and just overlooked bands that were actually really good, not necessarily commercial ones, but black metal bands or whatever. So, but I don't want people thinking that just because something is a certain way, I don't like it. And that's just not the case. Yeah. I just don't tolerate things that are fake. And this feels genuine for what it is.
There you go. And the truth is that a lot of new metal is fucking fake.
Yeah, it's just corporate bullshit. They're probably not even a band that put themselves together. They were probably assembled by a record label from the remnants of some other crappy band.
No, I think they were assembled by the research team at Hot Topic.
Yeah, and provided with material, or God forbid they write their own material and it just sucks, but because it's in a certain way, they just use somebody else as a template, and here's our music, and they put it out and hope that the stupid kids at Hot Topic will buy it up, and they do.
Didn't even have the word metal on it.
No,
but it should just be called New.
New.
Let's move on to one more wonderful, though, and that is the Death Scream Bloody Gore reissue is out. Did either of you fellas pick this up?
I got it, yes. I got the vinyl release.
I thought you pre-ordered it, Buke, for some reason. Must be George, I'm thinking
I pre-ordered it.
It's a pretty color, too, the vinyl.
I haven't pulled it out of the sleeve yet. I just got it yesterday.
Yeah, take a look at it. Not too much more to say about that one, but it's out.
It's out.
One thing we should say is it has all the original songs on Scream Bloody Gore, plus, I think it's like $25 to download it from iTunes, and it has.
Did you get it, Will?
No, but it has a ton of demos. It has a ton of live recording. It's got 50 songs on. I think it's all the same songs.
The CD. I don't know how much the vinyl has. I haven't looked.
It's on Spotify. It's on Spotify. They have it as 3 discs.
Yeah, I mean it's huge. It's
for-
not
looks
like remastered.
looks
a
like
lot
it's
of library
40
things.
Yeah, it looks like it's 45 tracks. There's some Florida sessions on here. There's some rehearsals on here.
Okay.
So yeah, it is on Spotify, and Will
Well,
be a Spotify guy now.
But you got the vinyl though, George.
I did.
Yeah. So it won't have any of that. But I didn't. I honestly didn't know that. Okay, interesting.
Yeah, get out of the 1970s, guys. Get in the digital age.
Next up, we have the new Destruction album, Under Attack, and
Crummy, crappy.
Yeah, it's pretty average. Did you listen to it, Buke?
Yeah, I did.
I do. I was a fan of the first 3 Destruction records. The first EP, I remember when I got that, and it was like this one I just ordered blindly because it was on Metal Blade or Combat or whatever it was on. That's actually my favorite one. They were real raw then. Then they kind of got a little more zeroed in and frankly a little more talented. And they made a couple of good records. Infernal Devastation is good. And then there was another one. I can't remember the name of it. But then they've been kind of coasting for years.
Oh, they've been riding the coattails of what they've done for decades now.
Decades, literally.
Every couple years they release an album, sounds exactly like the same, nothing special.
They're not like Creator, who like still kind of has some era of exploration about them, but also are just kind of a pretty good band still.
Yeah, Creator to me is one of my favorite bands ever, and everyone in the 90s would give them a pass. 90s was a weird period. Nirvana happened, Seattle grunge happened, people got weird, new metal happened, but Creator, when they came back to form, some of their best albums ever were the last 2 or 3 albums.
Yeah,
Destruction to me, I've never got into them. They were never nearly as good as Creator. I just never really gave them the time of day. Not saying they're not good,
you'd probably like the first couple, Will, but you're spot on about the late era. The late era shit is just crap. And that and I agree about the Creator records. Like Antichrist, was that one? That was the real hard or what was it called? I'll have to look it up.
Hordes of Chaos and not Antichrist.
Phantom Antichrist, wasn't it?
Phantom
Antichrist, that's it, yeah.
Hordes of Chaos is by far one of their probably their best record. It was unbelievable start to finish. And even Phantom Antichrist was phenomenal. Creator is up there with Slayer. Unbelievable.
I saw Slayer, Creator, and DRI together in a show one time, and it was fucking awesome. And I was a huge Creator fan at the time. And I had Pleasure to Kill on vinyl and got it signed by the guys.
Nice.
Phenomenal.
Low those many years ago.
Next up
Devil
is...
Driver. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, you can do it.
Devil Driver's new release, Trust No One. It's coming out this week. I'm not really a Devil Driver fan. Either of you guys?
Not really.
I am.
Were you a Cold Chamber fan?
Yeah, I was.
You were.
I hated Cold Chamber.
But I think that's where Devil Driver clearly gets a lot of their fans, which is fine. But
Devil Driver's done way better.
Oh yeah, I will give Devil Driver credit for being way better than Cold Chamber.
Yeah,
I like what they've done. It's catchy.
Did Cold Chamber do Big Truck?
Don't remember.
Nobody cares. Cold Chamber sucks.
nobody cares.
Man, quite frankly, I don't care about either band, but whoever did Big Truck, which I thought was Cold Chamber, it was a kind of a catchy little new metal song back in the 90s.
I did the song Loco.
Don't know. I bought the first album because he looked like...
Well, just to confirm that is Cold Chamber, Big Truck. You got that right.
All right, I thought. Was anyone drinking a beer? I just poured my second one.
Sorry, bro. Still waiting for the Sharks game. My game starts at 4:30, and then the Bears will come out.
So you got 2 hours.
Yeah. Well, no, it's an hour and 45 minutes, but I don't want to be too drunk before that first period.
What, you have a beer and you're too drunk?
No, but if I have 2 now and 4 during the game, I'm not gonna really care about the outcome that much. You know what I mean? I'll be like, it's cool. We lost, but I don't care. No, we're not gonna lose though, so I take that back.
Dude, I don't know if you can hang with me at Deathfest.
Don't worry, dude. I'll help you out. You won't be disappointed.
I don't know, man. You'll be hanging with Buke with the natural light.
It may be natural light, but I still drink a shit ton.
What are you drinking over there, dude? Coffee?
Cup of coffee. Okay, let's roll on.
Let's roll on.
All right, the new Flotsam and Jetsam self-titled album came out, and I know we were talking about that first song, Iron Maiden, and how that was a little bit out of form for Flotsam and Jetsam. It's a good song. I've heard it a couple times now. The rest of the album, it's sort of their Speed of Light. It's like not the rest of the album's a little more like typical Flotsam. It's good. There is a question mark at the end of that, Jay. I've only gotten through it once, so I'm not sure how much it's going to grow on me. You know, Flotsam's got good material, but sometimes it's just mediocre.
Yeah, I'll buy that.
You know, like I didn't care for the opening track, which kind of set the tone for me. If they had opened with Iron Maiden, I might have gone into the album a little more positively. I think the second or third songs I liked though, so the jury's still out out on this one for me.
Probably something I'll listen to in the next 24 to 48 hours, just because, like you, I'm a medium-sized fan of theirs, and I always check out the next record. I think Sergei heard it, and he told me he liked it. I think I've only heard Iron Maiden. So.
Okay.
I just picked up this next one.
Did you?
Gore Guts. Yeah, it's good. Did you guys like Colored Sands?
Loved
Yes.
it. Loved it. I have to agree with George on this one.
You don't like it?
Didn't really like it. This
Oh,
is
really? I
step-
thought it was interesting.
This
The
is
recording
Pleiades Dust, by
quality.
the way, their one song EP. I just
It's
thought
an EP.
It just sounded kind of muddy and boring to me. I like other Gore Guts, so don't get
Yeah.
me wrong. I'm not just bashing them out of hand, but
Was it more production was a problem for you than the quality of the track, or you?
No, I
just
mean,
didn't really
it-
like the song?
Yeah.
I think it could have
Played
used
through
more
a pretty-
production.
Yeah, but I mean the song itself, you also just didn't find that interesting.
Well, I mean, I will say I wasn't giving it my full attention because it wasn't really grabbing me. I mean,
Yeah, that's
you know.
I think that's an effective comment. I can't lie to you and tell you I've listened to it more than once, but I sat and listened to it stop to finish one time and I enjoyed it.
I got through the whole thing.
I just got that's the Metalheads stamp of approval.
I
from all that.
downloaded it on iTunes,
Yeah, me
and
too.
I've not yet heard the song because every time I'm in my car and I have this new iPod that is only Wi-Fi that
Oh, yeah.
cannot actually hear the song.
Yeah.
Never heard the
I-
song. Downloaded it. I love Gore Guts. Never heard the song because I hate Apple.
Yeah, I just got it last night too, Will. So yeah, you can't do that Bluetooth thing, huh? My Bluetooth in my Mustang doesn't recognize my iPhone, so it's like fuck.
No, I can do Bluetooth, but if I don't have Wi-Fi, I can't download it from the cloud.
To get it on your phone or whatever,
It's,
or on the iPod.
No, it's not on my iPhone. I do not have an iPhone. I have a Samsung, but I have an iPod, the new one.
Like a touch. Yeah.
Here's a
Anyway,
trick you can do, Will.
What?
I said, here's a trick that you can do to get it onto your phone. Do it at fucking home.
But I gotta say that's actually pretty good advice.
I very
It's
rarely.
like, you're like, I'm lost at sea here. There's nothing I can do. It's beyond me.
Connect to Wi-Fi at home and download it.
I don't know if you guys can hear the Disney movie Mulan in the background. This is my life.
They're going through them today.
I'm home alone with the kids, and somehow they are not bothering me too much.
Right on.
Yeah, anyway, that's my life.
Next up, we have the new Grand Magus album, Sword Songs.
It's just okay.
It's just okay. Yeah.
Sword
I was
fight.
fun with that.
That's what we'll be doing in the Deathfest parking lot, baby.
Yeah, I listened to this and I thought like, oh, this is like a great like kind of graveyard trouble, old school
Yeah, by that.
doom, and then it kind of got into this like weird power metal
Manowar-ish thing.
stuff.
It is more
Yeah,
power metal-y than anything they've done. It is way more power metal-y than the other Grand Magus records.
It lost me, so I tuned out.
No, me and George had the same reaction.
Yeah. Next up,
Duke.
we've already talked about it, is the new Gruesome EP, Dimensions of Horror.
Mm-hmm.
Check that out.
Good.
And then the new Hatebreed, The Concrete Confessional. What does our resident Hatebreed fan say about that?
It hasn't lived up to the early Hatebreed albums like I like. The last couple have kind of been. I don't like the lyrics and the songwriting with them. They're still all positive vibes and stuff. I just did not race out and have to listen to this one like I have their previous ones.
Fair enough.
I bought it. I've listened to it a couple times. I like Hatebreed a lot. It's like Buke said, it's not Perseverance. It's not the early stuff. It's good. It's Hatebreed. It's nothing
It's
new.
like some of the lyrics now, they're trying to be too. This is weird to try and describe. They're too positive, and the lyrics come off like a little cheesy.
Buke, have you ever seen Hatebreed live?
Like 8 times. I love them.
So you know Jamie Josta, the lead singer. It's just weird. He has this harsh, deep vocals. It sounds very angry, but when he's on a stage, he's like smiling and a happy guy.
Yes,
and
he
it
is.
seems like at some point he can't. I imagine a lot of the lyrics are coming from his personal past, that he went through some stuff that
Makes it sound like his parents were kind of rough on mom or dad. And
or he got molested or something. But he's gotten through all that, and now it's sort of, all right, well, I'm normal now, but I still have to sing about
Everything that
horrible
makes
stuff.
me angry. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if this is true, but it's not as angry and not as compelling as some of the early stuff.
That's a great way. That's a better description than that. It's not as angry as early Hatebreed.
You know, it's funny. I know they're very different bands, but that Tool suffers from that. Maynard needs to shut the fuck up about his mom, because that's the only thing he ever sings about. And second, they're all kind of rich and fat now as it goes, so to speak. And like that last record they did, it was just they sort of seemed angry, but it didn't work. You know what I mean? It's just like this manufactured anger after a while.
I haven't,
like you
liked
said, I
it.
still got to talk about how mad I am about my mom. What's that, Will?
I just haven't. For me, the last great Tool album was Anemia. Everything after that, I just sort of like lost my interest.
Fair enough. I did like Lateralist, but that is their high watermark, as you say.
Next up, we've got the new In Mourning album, Afterglow. I was just talking to John about this one yesterday.
Hey, is John your new best friend now or something?
No, he texted me about stuff. He asked me if I'd listen to it, and I was like, yeah.
God.
Are you
Well,
getting jealous?
you're getting. I am.
Anyway, I've only been through this one once as well. I really
I love
liked
it.
their last album, The Weight of Oceans, and I think the songs on this album are good. Something about the production's kind of rubbing me the wrong way a
muddy,
little
dude.
bit.
It's
It's a
muddy.
little muddier than the last album, which I thought had a much better production. But there's definitely some good songs on here. I just need to, sink my teeth into them a little more. Anybody? I know Buke's heard one of the songs.
I loved it. I heard it today. Fucking blew me away.
Really? Well, I
Loved
went and
it.
listened just because I saw it on, I usually go check out the stuff that ends up on the script, and I went and checked it out. I haven't listened to the whole thing or anything. But absolutely, the thing that sticks out singularly for me is it's a pretty muddy production.
Yeah,
As
it's
I
like-
didn't hear that. Me
didn't
personally,
feel it?
I
Okay.
didn't. I didn't hear that.
Under what circumstance did you hear it? Like, through what
Through my
service?
nice Smart and Logan stereo speakers in my living room, watching it on YouTube.
On YouTube, okay, all right.
Yeah,
Because
it's-
it could matter. I'll go check out the YouTube. I mean,
It's a lyric video.
I heard the MP3 iTunes version, so that could be part of it.
It's like if this was the first time I'd heard them, it might not have been as much of an issue. But having heard the previous album and just, I loved that album, The Weight of Oceans. And because of that, I had higher expectations going into this. And I'm like, their sound has definitely evolved. I mean, there's like clean vocals on the album. And that doesn't bother me. I expect them to evolve and to change. But I just think I would like it more if the production was a little crisper instead of this sort of like muddy guitar tone that just kind of makes everything.
The whole thing's sort of muddy. It sounds like it's in a bit of it's just too bassy overall or something. I don't know what it
Something.
is, but yeah. And it's funny because this is the first time I heard them, and it did stand out to me as something. But that stated, I have not heard the whole album. So if this is something that's spinning with John and Buke, I'll definitely make sure I go from start to finish on it, see what I feel.
I like it.
Yeah, I need to dig into it in the next couple of weeks to find out if it's top 10 or not, though.
There you go.
It could be. I mean, based on the reputation of the previous album, I'm giving it an opportunity to make top 10. It just has to sort of prove itself to me, I think. Next up, we have the new Catatonia album, The Fall of Hearts. Have you ever heard Catatonia before? If you have, then you've probably heard this album. That's not
like
meant
I
to be.
mentioned-
It's not meant
Like
to
we
be an
mentioned a
insult.
couple of-
No,
But I honestly, they don't surprise me much.
there you go.
The songs are what they are. Now, I've gone through this album once, and I like it for what it is so far. I don't know if it's going to be something that I spin a whole bunch, but if you like Catatonia, although I don't know. I mean, I was talking to John about this, my new best friend John, and and he I think he's perhaps a little more discerning Catatonia fan. He said that he didn't like the last couple albums quite as much, and that so far this reminded him more of the last few albums. So I guess I can't really say if you're a Catatonia fan, you'll like it. But I think if you are, you at least kind of know where they're headed. So we shall see what everybody thinks of that one. Next up is the new Kvelertak album, Knutsford. That's how it's pronounced. I was never
There's
really.
a lot of talk about this.
I was
I
never-
tried. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I know Dan likes it. I've never been much of a Kvelertak fan. I did listen to this. I got about halfway through this, and I gotta say that I will give them credit. They do not stick in one spot. The songs are like all over the place in terms of what they sound like, and I liked some of it. So I should probably check out the rest of the album.
Some of it's pretty cool, and that's the way I felt about it, because I think we're almost on exactly the same page here. I was like, people are loving this stuff, so I need to really check this out. I will say this. It stuck with me a little better than the last one did, because that was when people really started talking about them. I'm going to give it a few spins and see where I go with it.
Buke won't, 'cause it's
I
not
wasn't
in English.
disgusted. What's that?
So Buke won't because it's not in English.
Not in. You couldn't tell what they were were saying anyway. But I mean, it's interesting. It's interesting. I'm going to give it a fair chance. Mm-hmm. But it does really go to a lot of places, and some of them are downright. I mean, you could almost turn them into Green Day songs. You know what I mean? Like they really will get kind of poppy on you in places and stuff like that. And that's not really my wheelhouse. But
am I alone in that? You say you can't understand what they're saying, anyways, but don't you want to? Yeah.
I would prefer to. Yeah.
Hear a word here and there.
Yeah, but that's not. Good is still good. I like stuff that isn't in English. Would I prefer it's in English? Yeah, sure, but it's not going to preclude me from listening to it. Next up,
English or get out in my music.
Speak English or die.
No, yeah, I'm not crazy with it. Just if I'm listening to something, I want to be able to know what they're saying.
Sure, and I'm sure a lot of people are like that.
Yeah, it's a reasonable requirement.
But the thing is, though, too, guys, I want to get it. I own a couple of their albums.
When something takes off like this, and you see people enjoying it in mass, you do want to get it. I do.
A little left out.
Feel a little left out. Isn't that funny? I would say, just as a kind of example, I was driving in downtown Oakland the other day picking up some food, and I drove by a theater where I go see a lot of shows, and there was somebody playing. It was like and I don't know who it was. It wasn't even a metal band. It doesn't matter. But it was like all these teenagers lined up outside, and it was just like, how weird is that? That there's like these people that are crazy. That there's like these bands that people are crazy about, and I don't even know who they are. You know what I mean? So, and it is funny. You feel that enthusiasm. You're like, well, I wish I was taking part in that. So, yeah. So, Kvelertak. Yeah. You guys are probably.
John and I saw Kvelertak. They played at the AC Brau 50-year anniversary show, and they put on a great show. I'm not the biggest Kvelertak fan, but they put on a great show.
I agree. Actually, I saw them live once too, and I thought they were fun to watch.
Yeah.
They're like the Norwegian Mastodon or something.
Sort of, with a little bit more
punk
pop. Actually, I saw them with Mastodon, so there you go.
Next up is the new album from Phobocosm called Bringer of Drought. And I can't remember who it was. Somebody on Twitter told us about this one. I don't know if maybe Buke remembers. Might have been Rick.
Let's just say it was Rick.
Let's just say it was Rick. If it wasn't Rick, sorry. But it was like some really heavy death with maybe just a hint of doom.
George, this almost kind of sounds like a Little Hooded Menace.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And anyway, based on that recommendation, I know Buke and I gave it a listen, and it's pretty cool. Mm-hmm. Next up is the 20th anniversary reissue of Nemesis Divina by Satyricon. Probably, I don't think I'm going to go out too far on a limb here and say probably one of their best albums.
Mm-hmm. I think you put it on your list when we did their best albums not long ago.
I think I might have.
Might have been your first one, but maybe not.
And next up is one that I think I mentioned last episode, a band called Scar of the Sun and their new album In Flood. Kind of, if you're a fan of like Draconian Times era Paradise Lost, you might want to check this out. It's good stuff. Next up, I was happy to see that these guys were finally putting out a new album. Suadakra has released Realms of Odoric, and I've listened to that as well. I should mention, I try to get most of my music on Bandcamp because I can get the FLAC files there, but there's a lot of bands that just don't put music out on Bandcamp, and so I have a backup place that I go to that's a little more widespread in what they have than Bandcamp, and it's called 7 Digital. I don't know if anybody's ever heard of that.
No, this is news to me.
And 7, the number 7 Digital. They have an American site. They have a European site or whatever that I can't buy stuff from. But the American one, I picked up the Suadakra album on FLAC there and the Flotsam and Jetsam album. So if you're like, I wish I could get FLAC files from someplace other than Bandcamp, 7 Digital. Anyway. The new Suadakra album, as expected, is pretty cool. I remember Buke and I saw them at Jack's once and talked to them at their merch booth. They were cool guys.
Yep, cool guys.
So, cool guys, cool music. Check them out.
Opening for somebody, presumably. Who were they opening for when you saw them?
Don't remember. So many shows there. I'd have to really go back the Wayback Machine and try and figure that one out. Now, our final new release this week, finally released, Maestro by Winter Horde. I don't know about you, Jay, but I got my shipping notice on the vinyl.
You did? No, maybe it's buried in my emails somewhere. It's getting a lot of good reviews, this one, by the way. I'm backing off on it a little bit. I still like it a lot. There's a couple of genius moments on it, and then there's a little bit of filler on it, to be perfectly blunt, but I don't want to scare people off though, because it's actually quite a good record. And I've mentioned it a few times on the pod and compare it to, it's like a slightly more low budget version of the Flesh God Apocalypse record to me. And it's good. It's really good though. I mean, again, I don't want to downplay it. It's just, it's probably not going to score real high in my top 10, but it's somewhere in that list right now. We'll see where it goes, but I enjoy it. It tells a good story too.
Yeah, it's interesting. All right, let's move on to our top 5.
What's your top five? What's your top five? What's your biggest week?
That's right. This time we are doing 5. This is the top 5 bands you are looking forward to at Maryland Deathfest. I figured top 3, given we're doing 3 days at the Edison lot, I thought 3 might be a little too hard to do, so 5 gives us a little breathing room here. Why don't we start?
By the way, 5 did not give us much breathing room. A lot of honorable mentions.
Yes, I've got a few honorable mentions as well. So why don't we start with you, Will?
All right, so my top 5 in no particular order.
Whoa. Just give us your honorable mentions and your number 5.
All right, so my honorable mentions. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. All right, so I'm just gonna start naming something. So honorable mentions: Paradise Lost. Never seen them live. Really digging the stuff. The Monocle. Very, very good. Digging their stuff. It's almost, hate to say it, that Testament is in my honorable mentions, but I've seen Testament a million times. I've been a fan for probably close to 30 years. So
No, you're not going to learn anything new. So yeah, I hear you.
So I would say my number 5, my number 1, number 5 / number 1, actual real number 5 is Wombath.
Okay.
And I've told you guys about this before. They kind of sound like a little bit like Opeth. They're very, very good. I think they're from Atlanta, Georgia. Great band.
Right on. Jay,
Right.
your number honorable.
Yeah, I'll give 3 of them. 2, which have been canceled. So I still wanted to mention them. 2 I was excited to see. Namely Destroyer 666, which I was super psyched about, and also Serpent Throne. Both off the bill now. It's too bad.
And Jay, I could not agree more. I was really wanting to see Destroyer 666. I just saw Serpent Throne with John at the DC Browse show. They were phenomenal. I knew both of them canceled, so I didn't include them. But you're right. Phenomenal bands, both.
Too bad. And John was just as lauded, Serpent Throne as you did. He loved it because we did have him on once since. So too bad. Now, my actual real honorable mention would be Nuclear Assault. Looking forward to seeing them. I've never seen them before, and I was a big fan in the 80s. And then the first one on my list, my number 5, Gruesome. Just like you boys, I'm sure that's going to make a couple of lists here.
Oh, absolutely.
Buke.
My number 5 band that I've been a fan of for years. Didn't think I'd ever see them playing at Deathfest, but that's November's Doom.
No honorable mentions, eh?
No honorable mentions. There's no point if they're not going to be there.
There's no honor in not being on the list.
Exactly. Not this time.
All right. My honorable mentions are Thrice, November's Doom, Horrendous, and Gruesome. Now, before I get into my number...
When's Thrice playing?
Not the band. Anyway, good one.
Are you actually just making stuff up? Like, are they actually playing there, or just making it up? Like, maybe they're playing there?
No. I wanted to say, before I get into my number 5, my list is based a lot around the fact that there are bands here that I thought I would never get a chance to see. So, let's just say, that's, there may be bands on here that perhaps aren't as, I like other bands more, but I'm most anticipating seeing these bands because I never thought I'd get to see them. So,
my list is almost exactly the same. So,
yes.
in that sense.
So, for on that note, my number 5 is Hyrax. Crickets.
No. Just waiting for you to get around to me so I can say it.
All right. And we will go back to Will as soon as he's there.
Sorry. My number 5.
Your number 4.
Sorry,
Who is number 1?
Who is number 1? Yeah, so my number 5 is Demolition Hammer.
You mean your number 4?
Sorry, my number 4 is Demolition Hammer. Sorry, I had to run away and take care of children. Here's my child. Can you say hello, William?
Willem.
No, okay. Demolition Hammer. If you've never heard Demolition Hammer from the 80s. They had this brilliant song called 44 Caliber Brain Surgery. So as a sniper in the Marine Corps back in the early 90s, we changed it to 308 Caliber Brain Surgery. That's the caliber of the rifle that we used to shoot. So it was perfect for us. I'm a huge Demolition Hammer fan. I've never seen him before. I am highly anticipating that.
Excellent.
And I'm not going to say anything more, but I really, really like him.
There it is.
Jay, you're number 4.
Lyrics. Very excited about them.
Or Hyrax.
I
have no idea what it is.
I think yours is probably more right than mine. And I don't even know what it means, actually. But I'm totally excited to see them. That first record especially is so pretty great. And I actually went and watched some live video of them when I found out they were coming. They still bring it.
Yeah, awesome. I can't wait. Buke, number 4.
Number 4 is a nice death metal band by the name of Sinister.
Yeah, that's a good choice.
One of the bands on the Edison lot on Friday. Just right up my alley. Just another death metal band.
Excellent. My number 4 that I'm excited about is Exciter.
I told you we were going to have the same fucking list.
Yeah.
That was the worst pun ever.
I know. But Long Live the Loud Man, that fucking album back when that came out. Oh, I love that album.
Well, and this is that lineup. This is Dan Beeler, who was out of the band for years. This is the 3 guys who are on that record, Violence and Force and Heavy Metal Maniac. It's those 3 dudes.
Yeah, so I can't wait to see that.
Also went and watched the video, and Dan Beeler still sounds like Dan Beeler. So it's going to be cool.
Awesome. All right, Will, number 3.
Number 3 is Gruesome.
There it is.
Never seen Gruesome. Love Gruesome. Love everything they're doing. I don't care if people say it's a death ripoff. I love death. I love everything they're doing. It's phenomenal. My number 3, Gruesome.
And
by the way, my son just said that he wants to open up a beer. And the beer that we are opening up, shameless plug, not shameless, not for me, but is we're trying hashtag Ultra Fresh by 3 Stars Brewing Company, as brewed by the phenomenal team at 3 Stars in Washington, D.C., given to me by the great Dr. Allison Lang.
Actually, Will, I just got a new name for a beer that you need to brew. Shameless plug.
Shameless plug. And I don't even work at this brewery. It's just my friend's brewery. So.
My number 3, new lead singer or not, Hail of Bullets.
I knew that was going to be on there somewhere.
Yeah, I'm really excited about seeing them.
Buke, what is your number 3?
I never thought I'd see these guys. The last couple albums I haven't been that into, but my number 3 is The Haunted.
Oh, very good. Now, I completely agree with you, Buke.
I see some T-shirts on some various selfies that go up on Facebook from time to time. I figured they'd be on your list.
Yep.
The
first couple albums I loved, man.
10 years ago, they were phenomenal. The last, like The Flood, not that great. Though I think the last album was okay.
The Flood, I liked. After that, I kind of...
Is The Flood the one that every single song title was The Something?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did not like that album. Everything before that had like 99 Lies or something.
Yep, 99, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry. George.
My number 3, I'm going to be standing alone on this one, but it's Impaled Nazarene.
No. I considered putting it on, believe it or not.
All right. Somebody else that knows them.
I'll stand there and watch them with you.
Sweet. All right.
Will, number 2, Will.
My number 2 is Nuclear Assault.
Good man.
I love Nuclear Assault. Back in the 90s, they were, not Winds of Plague, The Plague, and all that stuff.
Game over, man. Game over.
Game over.
Yeah. I was the big Nuclear Assault back in the day. I saw them once at the Allentown Airport Music Hall. Way, way, way back in the day. Big Nuclear Assault fan. The last few things that they've tried to put out, like Third World Genocide, just hasn't quite hit the mark. But
I think they'll probably focus on the older stuff. That's my hope.
I sure hope so.
Yeah, exactly, Jay. That's my hope. So, Nuclear Assault.
Good choice. Very few comments need to be said in addition to what I've already said, but I am really glad that Exciter is going to be there. I honestly thought I'd never have a chance to see that band in this iteration. This was also a band who hated each other for about 20 years. So the fact that this is happening, they're not even the most amazing Megaforce band, but I agree with George. Long Live the Loud. I spent a summer with that record, dude.
Yep.
Yeah, and Violence and Force too. So totally glad these guys are going to be there. I totally avoided saying I'm excited to see Exciter. Buke, number 2.
Number 2, Gruesome.
Nice.
My number 2 is also Will's number 2, Nuclear Assault. Can't wait to see those guys. I never thought I was going to see them. I mean, they've been pretty much gone. I mean, it's been at least 10 years since Third World Genocide, I think.
I think there's been a couple little tour things.
George, have you
Yeah.
ever seen them live?
I have not seen them live, no, and so
Neither have
that's
I,
why
yeah.
I'm really excited to see this.
I don't even think I've had the opportunity to see them live. Meaning, like I don't think I've ever been in a town where they came through at the right time.
And as far as I know, they're calling it quits, so this is sort of like a farewell thing for them.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. Supposedly Danny Loeffler is just retiring. So that brings us to number ones. Who are you most excited about, Will?
My number 1, Atrophy. And I have to major mea culpa that several podcasts ago, probably the penultimate time that I was actually on the podcast, when everyone was saying, oh, Atrophy is going to be on at Maryland Deathfest. I'm like, it's not the same band. It actually is the same band from the early 90s, Atrophy, who released Socialized Hate and Violent by Nature. I loved this band back in the early 90s, and it is the same band that is playing at Deathfest. I cannot wait to see them. I was such a huge fan. I can't agree now in my older age with all their earlier messages. They were very much like a social, like a band that like their lyrics were very
almost punk oriented, I'm assuming.
Yeah, what'd you say?
Yeah. Almost maybe slightly punk oriented, because there's always a lot of social awareness in punk lyrics for a long time. Yeah.
No, absolutely. And I couldn't agree or disagree. I just didn't always want to be hit over the head with like lyrics. There was a lot about genetic testing on animals, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so, but I've never seen them live. I love this band back in the early 90s. I cannot wait to see them. It is the same band. Mea culpa. You guys are right. I was wrong. I can't wait to see them. That's my number 1.
Sweet. Mine is kind of a weird choice because it won't be the complete version of this band, but I have never seen Cronus perform. I have seen the other 2 members of Venom perform, so I am super psyched to see Venom play because the Venom Incorporated show was actually amazing, and that doesn't mean this one will be, but this is the true frontman of that band, and it's the true voice of that band, and boy, I spent some time with these guys in the early 80s, and never had the opportunity, so I'm really excited to see him. I would like to meet him.
Yeah.
That would be cool.
If they play in League with Satan, I'm going to lose my mind.
Yeah, and I'm inclined to say they will. I'm hoping, dude. I mean, he is proud of their new records, and they're okay. So there'll be some of that, but I think they'll do a fair amount. So that's my number 1.
Excellent.
Venom.
Buke, your number 1.
My number 1, hands down, their last 2 albums have blown me away. Was a major screw up on my part not to have it on my best albums of last year. Talking about Horrendous.
Right on.
Yeah, I definitely want to see them. I think that'll be interesting.
And I enjoyed that record too. I think it made my honorable
It
mention.
should have easily been top 3. Number 2,
Right on.
number 1 easily. It's an amazing album.
I want to say it was a little late in the year though, and it was like you could have missed it. George, who are you excited about?
My number 1.
Can I take a guess?
Yeah, I'll give you a guess in a second here. Nobody has said this band yet, and
But I'm excited to see him too, though.
okay. So, what are your guesses, guys? Buke first.
Duke first.
I thought Impaled could have been number 1.
Could have been.
Samael.
Jay, what's your guess?
Mayhem.
Samael it is.
Ah, damn it! I
You
lost
didn't
that.
give me a
man.
chance.
Oh, sorry. Well,
Just say Samael.
say Samael.
No, I was going to say the Offspring or Rancid, one or the other.
Oh, that must be one of the stages over at the
Hot Topic.
One of those
The
places
Hot
where you get
Topic.
stabbed in the neck.
Yeah.
They live-
Jay,
those guys-
the Hot Topics page. You're right.
Both local bands here, by the way.
Yeah, no, actually, I considered Mayhem just like I considered Venom, and I was like, if this was Euronymous playing guitar and all that,
definitely.
I was like, because I am super stoked to see them, but Samael, I just they're going to be playing all of Ceremony of Opposites, and that is like one of my all-time favorite death metal albums. So
Even better, dude. That's awesome.
yeah.
And I actually don't have Ceremony of Opposites, and I'm literally going to download it when we get off.
Yeah, you need to hear this album before they play it, because
All right, I'm going to download it in about 10 minutes.
they were one of the first bands to sort of start putting some groove into death metal. I mean,
Got a cool cover.
yeah, it's like something out of Hellraiser or something, or
Yeah.
Jesus, I don't know. But anyway,
Mordora.
very excited to see that. Let's move on to what we're listening to.
What are we listening to? So I'm kind of all over the map right now, but weirdly enough, don't judge me, but I think it's pretty decent. Is a new metal church.
Actually, I have to go with you on that one.
Yeah,
It
it's good.
actually, so
Hey, Will, I'm going to be rude. Can you say it again, buddy?
I'm listening to the new Britney Spears, and I really love it. And her duet with Blake Shelton and
Look at him rolling his eyes. I was like,
is phenomenal. Like, I'm really liking it. Like, Blake Shelton's death metal vocals is like.
Duke is literally like just like.
Sorry, I
enjoying
can't-
this.
Yeah, it's you lost me.
It was that he's listening to the new metal church.
Yeah, so sorry, the new metal church. I actually think it's a return to form in some degree. There are some songs that are actually very catchy, return to form. I'm actually digging it. So that's one of them.
If we can't
That's
have
good.
David Wayne, then at least this
Okay.
is the next best thing.
Right. Actually, what's the new guy? What's the singer's name now? That was the second singer.
I think it's Mike Howe
Okay.
Yeah, I actually prefer Mike Howe.
There you go.
over David Wayne.
I like it. It's a good record.
Yes.
Okay, hanging up on Will now.
Okay.
You do not diss the David Wayne.
Yeah. Just remember that I owe you a lot of money, and I could take it back.
Ouch.
Actually, you already sent me a PayPal.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
Okay.
there you go. You can't turn shit around now.
I will cry fraud. Weirdly enough, in my new brewery, Atlas Brewing Company, on canning days, we listen to a lot of Tool. So I've been listening to an F ton of Tool and Pumpy Pock, man. Just goes to show you how much my brain is fried from listening. It's pop. I can't even say it. Holy shit! It's punk. I
Punk.
can't stand it. It's Pumpy Pock. Pop. I can't say it.
Poppy Punk.
Yeah, but I am enjoying.
Yeah.
Anyway, Slaves BC. I'm listening to a lot of Slaves BC. Loving that. Trench Rot. I don't know who sent me. Somebody sent me that. One of the listeners, or was Buke or somebody. Love new Trench Rot.
I love that.
Yeah, it's good. It reminds me a lot of Gruesome.
But the thing is, I think it came out 2 years ago, though, but it's new on our radar.
Yeah, it's definitely new to me, but it is really, really good. It reminds me a lot of Florida era, like 1980s, early 1990s death metal. And I am listening a lot to the new Anthrax, and it's not because I love it. I'm trying to.
You're trying to like it?
I'm trying to like it. And there's a lot that I like about it. There's a lot that I don't like about it. On the whole, if it's Operation Preparation H, on the whole, I like it. I don't love it.
Come to the dark side, I tell you. I'm just giving you shit, but I don't know. I went in with different expectations and have just thoroughly enjoyed it. I mean, what I mean is I didn't expect anything, and I expected it to be possibly good, but I wasn't like it needs to be follow up to worship music or anything. I like it from start to finish. There's really nothing bad on it in my mind. Just throwing my 2 cents out there.
Yeah, there's a few songs that sort of kind of meander into the okay, you could do without this rain. Like, and what's
fair enough.
weird is there's a few songs on there that are kind of buried. The original titles were like Thrash and F sharp or whatever it was, and the riffs are phenomenal, but sort of gets lost in the back end of the album.
I just in contrast to what Buke thought or wondered, it's probably going to be on my top 10.
All right.
Did we get your whole list there, Will?
Yeah, that's it. I'm sorry, I'm done.
I'll keep it brief. Vector, still listening to that. Kind of on the fence about it now. It's exhausting to listen to. It's just because it's like 12-minute thrash songs, but it's good. Saw Behemoth live recently, and I've just been spinning the whole back catalog and finding a new level of love for those guys that I didn't previously have, even though I liked them. Now I'm just like, oh god, they're like one of the greatest bands ever. And this one, I was gonna say spoiler, but who cares? I got the Metallica remasters, and the live stuff that came with those is amazing. And I've been listening to the old live shows of Metallica, both Ride the Lightning and Kill 'Em All eras, and they're really
Let me
good.
ask you this, Jay. You said old live masters. It's not James singing in his new style.
Nope, it's
literally-
live at the Kabuki Theater is my favorite one in San Francisco on the Ride the Lightning tour.
on the Bukkake Theater.
That's right. And it's awesome. And he sounds amazing. That's the best disc in the whole set. But so I've been listening to those.
I'm reading the Birth School Metallica Death book right now.
You good?
So far?
Is that authorized type deal or?
Yeah.
That was my whole list, boys.
All right, Bukaki.
Been busy, as I always have been, not listening to that much. But I wanted to please don't crucify me for this one. But the
Not Christians. We won't do that to you.
drummer of Slipknot,
No, I heard about this. Yeah, I saw
Joey
the video.
George, released a new video for his band Vimic.
Haven't heard it.
The song "She Sees Everything." I'm telling you what, gentlemen, catchy as all fucking get up, man.
Did
I
you
I-
heard this on Sirius XM.
It's all right.
I haven't
Is
heard
that
it.
singer an albino, Buke?
What type of question is that? Why are you asking me?
Didn't you watch the video?
Wait, you're asking me because I should know because I'm pale?
Yes, that's right.
Didn't he do the Scar the Martyr? Wasn't that his other band?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was horrible. But I'll
Okay.
check this out.
No, this
No,
is
no.
actually watch that fucking video. Listen to this song.
I watched it.
Vimic is all over Liquid Metal on Sirius XM.
It's okay. It's not. I mean, and I'm not downplaying it even that much. It's a catchy tune.
It's catchy. It's really fucking catchy.
Is it, say, commercial like maybe, I don't know, Avatar?
Yes.
It's very commercial, very marketable,
Okay.
But Joey definitely has the money to put behind this, and Roadrunner's also doing it.
Fucking
So
Roadrunner.
it's I know, I'm not saying that's but they're gonna release a good product.
Yeah,
And
I'll
I
check
don't
it
think
out.
you shouldn't take any flack about it, Buke. I saw it. I don't know why I even watched it, but I put it on and I watched
And
the whole thing, and that speaks volumes. I was
Regardless
like,
of what
okay,
people
this is
say,
awesome.
liking, disliking Slipknot, Joey, hands down, is one of the best drummers in metal world right now. The guy is fucking amazing. With that, what I've been listening to, I'm not on the fence about it. The new Vector album is pretty amazing.
It is good.
It is.
It reminds me of early Creator. It is good.
Wow, we all agree on one.
The only thing I don't like about it actually is
Oh no, Jay! No,
Hey, what are you doing?
you loved it. Come on, Jay.
there's a ballad at the end of the record that sounds so much like "On the Turning Away" by Pink Floyd, except for they take a left turn every time they get to this one chord. I would almost have to point it out to you in person, but no, I've enjoyed. It's one of the main things I'm spinning now, so take that with a grain of salt. They are amazing guitar players.
Amazing.
It's going to be huge.
But I really, really like them. I think they're amazing.
They're good. I don't know how those guys play guitar like that.
And there's an album I found again from last year that I've been listening to from Disincarnate, and So It Came to Pass.
Okay,
Cool.
all right.
So that's it.
All right, hey.
I've been listening to a lot of Mickey Mouse Clubhouse, a lot
there
of
you go.
Elmo.
Me too. I'm watching Mulan right now, by the way.
Yeah, so are we, unfortunately.
So I put the video. You see it there in the Skype chat, gentlemen. Check that out when you get a chance, George.
Will do. I will.
Mickey Mouse Clubhouse. I'm all over it.
All right, so what have I been listening to? I picked up 2 albums from the band called Clouds Taste Satanic. They're an instrumental doom band. I picked up 2 Sleep Beyond the Earth and Your Doom Has Come. Instrumental stuff, but you could like that.
Say it again, buddy.
Clouds Taste Satanic.
Good title.
Yeah, it's an interesting band name, and yeah, they're pretty cool. There's a couple on that were on my list. We've already talked about the Avatar, the Flotsam and Jetsam, the In Mourning. There is a new project featuring Scott Kelly and another guy that I can't remember his name. It's called Mirrors for Psychic Warfare. Their self-titled
it?
album.
What kind of thing is it? Is this? Is it like? Go ahead.
To me, my first impression of it was a lost Nick Cave album.
Well, that's why I was asking. Is it kind of acoustically like that Scott Kelly thing that just came out last year or whatever it was?
It's not like heavy like Neurosis.
Yeah.
It's a little more subdued, and I don't know that it was acoustic. I don't think it's definitely not acoustic.
We can just go clean, but I'll look into it in any case.
But
because
yeah.
I'm interested in what he does.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And then I also got the new Oak Pantheon in pieces. Thank you, John, for pointing out that had been released. Of course, like an atmospheric black metal kind of thing.
Sleep Dope Smoker while you go through your 4-hour-long list.
It's not that long. I'm already halfway through it.
What?
It seems a little less organized than it is usually, so I didn't think it was a list.
Yeah.
It's more like he's just telling us what he's got.
Yeah.
George, what is it? This is the downfall of the podcast now.
Well, I'm cutting out a couple because I don't remember anything about them. And I bought them, but I don't remember what they sound like, so I'm leaving them off. I also picked up 2 albums from a decidedly non-metal band that a lot of metal fans seem to be listening to, and this is Perturbator. I picked up their first one, Dangerous Days, and I believe the new one is called The Uncanny Valley. This is it's like dark electronic music. and I'm kind of into like electronic stuff these days, some more industrial stuff, and like I was digging the algorithm.
By the way, George, if you did not see, Jay just had the biggest yawn in his life. And he was completely distracted because I'm pretty sure his wife's name is Jean.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was doing something to him where he was completely distracted.
I was telling her eye looks so
saying
red.
just now.
Well, here, I'll show you what else is
I just want to bring a little like clarity. Oh, it was this cat. Even weirder. Okay, go ahead, George.
All right, next one up, Suadakra, Realms of Odoric. I've been checking that out. Another band is more of a kind of a traditional doom band called The Temple, and their album Forever Mourn. I was pretty impressed with that one. I was surprised, and I picked that up on Bandcamp, I think. Not exactly sure. Next up is a band called Universe 217, and their album Change. This is sort of like an Avatarium kind of thing. It's like doomy with a female singer who sounded a lot like Avatarium to me, so that definitely caught my attention. Thank Jay for the next one. I finally got a copy of Violator by Vreedhammer. Been listening to that. This next one is kind of interesting. Is a band called Witch Hazel and their album Prelude. It's sort of like if the band Witchcraft did a Manowar album. It's like kind of retro hard rocky type stuff about songs about kings and conquering and things. It's weird. This next band, I was snagged by their name because, of course, one of my favorite bands of all time is Woods of Ypres, and this band is just called Ypres, Ypres, and
Wait, so what is
Yeah, what does it mean?
Ypres mean?
Woods of Ypres is it's a forest in France, I believe.
There was a
And
World War I battle there.
a World War I battle. Yeah. And this band, they're sort of I don't know, kind of sludgy, heavy band, but the name brought me, the music kept me, and I picked up their self-titled as well as the genus Vitosium. And my last one is a very interesting album, and I believe Greg is the one that told me about this one, but again, I could be wrong because it's been a couple of weeks since I bought it. Is a band called Zeal and Ardor, and the album is called Devil is Fine, and this is one of the most unique albums I've ever heard in the metal realm. It is Blackened Blues.
All right.
And I want to know more about this album because I could find virtually nothing about them online. I think Greg might have told me that it's like a one-man band thing, and it's basically like black metal stuff, and I think he may be sampling old like church spirituals or something like that. And so if that's the case, I'm a little less behind it. I mean, it's a cool album. It's very, it's got this old school bluesy vocals over this like black metal music. But if it's actually somebody singing this, I will be very impressed about how cool it is. It's still cool even if it's only sampled, but not quite as cool. So you can find that on Bandcamp if you want to check it out. Zeal and Ardor. Let's move on to our classic album.
So, my classic album, Testament, New Order. I have no idea what happened
Neither
the other
does he.
day when my son was screaming his head off, and you can hear him right now. But I literally woke up listening, like the song "Disciples of the Watch" was in my head. So, Testament, New Order song, which is going to be my my deep track. It's not quite a deep track, but Disciples of the Watch. Love that song. Love the album. That is my classic album and my deep track.
All right.
And William, say hello to everyone. Oh, you don't want it. Okay. Jay.
Mine is, I don't know if I've ever said this one before, but I'm just going to throw it out there. I've been doing some more hard rocky stuff lately on our classics, but this is one I loved in the 80s, Twisted Sister, Under the Blade.
I just heard the song.
Nice, man.
I just heard the song yesterday on the radio, and I was like, oh, yeah.
The title track?
Yep, Under the Blade.
Right on. Yeah, I had watched that documentary not long ago, and so that record's been on my mind a little bit. It's a good one for people that I don't think a lot of people really understand how cool a couple of their records are. So.
Oh, yeah.
That's
I
classic
love
Buke. It's good stuff.
Still, again, like every episode, almost the same. Going back, classic death metal from Ohio. They released one album in 1990. This is Midian from Cabal.
Cool.
Okay, I don't know if
I love the silence. It's pretty cool. It's fine.
I
just
don't think
don't
I
know.
actually know that one.
The
Yeah, me neither.
vocalist is Killjoy, who went on to do Necrophagia.
yeah.
That's why. who we're such big fans of.
But this is a cool little album.
All right. My classic this week is a little bit on the softer side as well. I picked up this album in the 80s when I saw it on a display in a store. The album artwork is decidedly unmetal. It's kind of pretty. In fact, the band.
Boy, George.
In fact, the band is pretty. They're Pretty Maids, and this is their Future World album.
Cyndi Lauper.
They actually kind of look
man.
like her.
And,
What is? Where did this say where they're from, George?
They're
wanna say
Danish,
from-
I believe.
Yeah, I was gonna say they're from Denmark or something.
And yeah, it was an interesting album because I give the guy credit. I don't really know any of their other albums, so I don't know if he always did this, but he had a really good singing voice. But then half the time when he sang, he sounded like Rolf from Running Wild with this.
Right.
And so he'd be like la 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 la. And I was like, wow, that sounds really bad. I like that.
When was the last time you listened to it, you think?
I heard it on Liquid Metal, or it actually probably wasn't Liquid Metal. It was probably Boneyard. I heard it on XM, whatever channel it was, about a week ago, and I had to
No
dig it
way,
out.
Pretty Maids.
Yeah, because it's one of those bands you don't hear about much, and it took me back, and I had to go and listen to the album. And I'm going to go ahead and dump my deep track on you because it's from the album, and that is a track called Yellow Rain, which may kind of be an inappropriate title. It's about Vietnam. So I don't know if that title is actually all that PC, but it's a good song.
It's probably more about Agent Orange or something than it is about.
Let's hope.
Yeah.
Let's hope.
Yeah, isn't it funny? Let's hope it's about something nice like Agent Orange. Well, I think that leaves two deep tracks, and that's me and Buke. So I'll tell you mine first, and then we'll do Buke's. And mine is not really a deep track, but it is from the album I'm going to give you, which long story. Anyway, it's the song Reckoning Day by Megadeth, which...
Yes.
Now, I don't know if a lot of people would call it a deep track, but I will say this. They had this live record that came out a couple of years ago called That One Night in Argentina.
Love it.
There is an amazing version of this song on there. He sings it like an angel. It's so good. And I like the song anyway. But so literally very specifically Reckoning Day from That One Night in Argentina. Live in Argentina is amazing.
Cool. Buke?
You got something deep for us, Buke?
Oh, I got something deep for you, baby.
Save it for Deathfest. Come on.
Off of Nightfall.
2 inches deep. I'm ready.
This is a power metal deep cut. Off of Nightfall in Middle Earth from Blind Guardian. This is one of my favorite tracks on there. It's a real hidden gem. Track
Thorn?
8, Blood Tears.
Oh, yeah, Blood Tears is great, dude.
Yeah.
My favorite on that record is Thorn.
Oh, Thorn's great, man. Oh, yeah.
I had that on my swim iPod recently and rewound it twice, listened to the song twice while I was swimming. That's a good song. But Blood Tears is awesome, dude.
Yeah. So
That's a good record. That's a really good record.
It's an awesome record.
Let's move on to our purchases, of which I know Will does not do vinyl. So do you have any regular purchases for us?
A lot of my purchases are very much digital, but I've very much been trying to, as much as possible, the new Order of Israfel, which I'm a huge fan of. Their first album was phenomenal. The second one is Wofat, just came out on Friday. Midnight Cometh, love that. The new Gruesome, Dimensions of Horror, been listening to that. The Gorguts, Pleiades Dust, I have purchased. I'm trying to listen to quite a bit of Hatebreed, The Concrete Confessional, and I went way back in the way back machine of Entombed AD after George and John and I went to see Entombed AD in Monomarth. I cannot believe I did not have this, but Left Hand Path by Entombed / Entombed AD. So that's what
I thought you were going to surprise me by saying you bought some Ex Mortis.
no.
No.
There you go. No.
Okay.
Is that it?
That is it.
All right, Jay.
I did not have to play Dope Smoker for me. Wait, but George, when you're ready, just give me a pause and I'll play Dope Smoker.
I don't have that many. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right.
Mine's not a huge list either. I picked up Kiss Alive 2. I found a nice cheap copy, like a new used copy of those audiophile 180 gram, and I did want to have that, so I got it. I got Hella Wait.
Jay, I gotta ask you a question. Do you slightly feel embarrassed because you're buying Kiss, or are you like, F yeah, I'm buying Kiss?
No, I would say slightly embarrassed, but they were such a foundation band for me as a kid, and I can't tell you the hours I spent looking at that record as a kid, listening to it as well. So I'm glad to have it back in the collection. And it came with all the original packaging. It's they had these reissues that have all the original stuff in them. I picked up
I just want to say I agree with you. They were definitely a gateway drug for me.
There you go.
Kiss was.
Yeah.
So.
And bear in mind, I was 8 years old. But I mean, still.
I was probably 7.
Well, there you go.
So,
but it's important in early memories. I picked up Hella Waits. I didn't have that, believe it or not, on vinyl. I got Monotheist reissue showed up in the mail, which I don't think had showed up before last time. I picked up a Nevermore, The Year of the Voyager. Beep, do you have that?
Yes, I do. The three
Yeah.
4 disc live.
Yes, I didn't.
Yep, I have it.
I fell off my radar. I'm sure I knew it existed at one point. I got that for $15, dude. Three discs vinyl.
Yeah, I got it for cheap too.
And then finally, I picked up, probably most importantly and most expensively, the deluxe remaster box sets of both Kill 'Em All and Ride the Lightning. And they're pretty amazing. The sets themselves are amazing. I mean, they come with this great book, bunch of DVDs, vinyl live show, vinyl remaster album. Totally worth the price of entry. Did you pick up anything this week, Buke? Or
Nope.
since the last?
Life has found me pretty tight in the wallet, so nothing for me.
I'll buy you a couple beers at Deathfest.
Thanks.
All right. I picked up Mantar's Ode to the Flame.
You seriously?
Maybe I didn't.
What? Seriously, what? I didn't buy anything.
You have not in the last week bought any vinyl?
Every once in a while. This might be I've been on for maybe 25 episodes. I think it's the second time he said that. Every once in a while. The old, what do you call it? Checkbook is empty.
All right, just make sure.
All right, so I picked up the new Mantar album, Ode to the Flame. I got the Celtic Frost reissue of Monotheist. I also got the new Isan album, Arctis.
Oh, yeah.
Is it Isan or Isasan?
Isan, I-H-E-San, Isan.
The black metal guy who just suddenly decided to be proggy black metal?
Yeah.
That's about right. Yeah.
I also got the Vector Terminal Redux vinyl.
Well, mine hasn't shown up yet,
Yeah.
since you mentioned it.
And, see, all this stuff must flow east to west.
I'm guessing, yeah.
I also got, finally, the Rotting Christ Rituals vinyl. That took forever to arrive. I ordered that months ago. I also got Down's Nola and 2, which is actually the longest pre-order ever. I pre-ordered that last September, and it finally fucking arrived. And like Jay, I also got the deluxe box set issues of Kill 'Em All and Ride the Lightning.
They were hard to resist. We tried.
So, George, your whole list is on vinyl.
Yeah.
Yep. With the exception of the fact that the deluxe boxes came with some CDs, but whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Whoa. Heresy.
All right. Well, that is pretty much wrapping it up for this week. We hope to see you out at Deathfest this coming week. And
we'll look for you, whoever you are.
yeah, we'll be recording there. So if you see us come by, maybe get on an episode. And
If you're not sure what we look like, it's one really handsome guy and about 4 or 5 ugly guys. So
yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know.
You
I'm not-
decide for yourself who the handsome one is.
Exactly.
George
anybody's
is super handsome, and we are trolls.
We're all beasts.
Don't you forget it. All right. So before we go, make sure to check us out on SoundCloud. That's where you can find the episodes. You can also find us on Facebook. I am on Twitter at DiscipleOVMetal.
I'm at Opeth Fan.
At Catatonic J.
At Brew Metal Will.
We're also on Instagram, we're on YouTube, we're on Stitcher, and as always, you can find us at wearemetalheads.com. Go check out the new logo we've got up there and let us know what you think.
As always, tell a
by the
friend.
way, wait, no. Let's not, like, what do you think? Like, that new logo is badass compared to the last one.
It is.
It's very nice.
It's
and
pointy.
we chime in on that.
Yeah,
Are we
tell us how
allowed to
badass
chime
it is.
in?
Well, more than
By the way,
anything
we
that-
love it
more
more
than-
than the last one.
More than any sticker or any logo you have,
you better be spreading your own brand now all over the fucking place now, because we have a badass logo that's ours.
Yep. That logo is literally kicking ass and taking names all by itself.
It is.
Yeah, that logo is kicking ass so bad that there's a guy like flying from California to here for that logo.
It's because of the logo.
Yeah, just because of the logo.
So it's nice to have Matt back on the podcast.
We are a bunch of the most pathetic D-bag, King Kong D-bags in the world. And this guy's like, I've never met them, but I'm going to come out and like hang out with them.
Hey, Will?
His name is Jay.
Hey, Will?
Nailed it.
Stay home. You're drunk.
Okay.
All right. Well, this is going to be it for this episode. We will see you next time. Until then, we remain Metalheads. All right, we thought we were done with this episode, but apparently we are not. It is now the day after we just recorded the latest episode, but because of some news that we got this first thing this morning, we decided to add just a little bit more to discuss the passing of Nick Menza. Apparently, Nick was on stage playing with his current band Ohm last night, and 3 songs in, he collapsed from an apparent heart attack and passed away. This morning, John, which, by the way, John is now with us, as well as Will and, of course, Buke. Say hi, everybody.
Hi, everybody.
Oh.
Hi, everybody.
And so we thought we'd just sort of get together real quick and kind of discuss this terrible event and pay a little tribute to Nick. Who wants to say something?
I'll let you guys speak first, because you guys, lived the Megadeth years.
I mean, where do you begin at this point? It seems like we're doing this whether it's on the podcast or just talking on the phone or in person. It seems like it's somebody different every week. And this one, Metal Brother, and the fact that he's not that old or wasn't that old, at least not for some of us.
How old was he? Do we know?
51.
51. So it sucks. Tired of hearing about it.
Yeah, it's the year the music died, that's for sure.
Yeah, and I always wonder, like when Mike Scatia, he died on stage, the guitarist for Rigor Mortis and Ministry. I wonder if Nick Menza ever said, like, if I'm going to go, I want to go on stage.
Yeah.
That's how it went.
It would be poetic if he did, and then that's what happened. Poetic, but still tragic and sad. It kind of blew my mind. I mean, because first of all, I don't even think of him as being 51 years old. Because he was like the third drummer in the band in Megadeth, and so I still think of him as like the kid that was in the band. And
right.
For him to be, first of all, just to be looking as old as he was, which again was not that old, but I still pictured him as like probably like 28-year-old Nick. And
do we know, did he live a hard life like Lemmy and Dave Mustaine? And
well, it's funny because I just like about a week ago finished reading Dave Mustaine's book, and he talked about how Nick, when Dave was trying to get clean, he implemented this, everybody else has to be clean rule on tour, and Nick basically was going to quit the band because he was like, nah, I don't wanna. So, and based on things in the book, he drank hard and he did drugs just as much as everybody else, but no idea if he's been like clean for any length of time or what. But
Again, knowing the history of the band, it wouldn't, surprise us if that was a reason to add it to this. For a 51-year-old to drop dead of a heart attack is not common.
Yeah, was he doing coke or something, or was it just he was just worn out from all the years of abuse, or maybe it was just something genetic that would have got him one way or another.
Yeah. My grandfather had a heart attack at 50. My father had a heart attack at 50. My father is still alive, so it's like, okay, so does that mean I'm going to have a heart attack at 50?
Well, something to look out for.
Yeah, I bet you're about to say you look forward to, right?
Yeah, it almost came out that way, and I was like, that's not what I meant to say.
So to talk about him as a drummer, guys, he joined the band in 1990 for Rust in Peace. Was this like, oh, who's coming in? Who's this new Megadeth drummer? Because he was drum tech for them. What was the talk around when Nick joined the band?
By that point, I kind of was already starting to get the, another lineup kind of feel to it, because this was like the Mark 3 or 4? 3, I think.
It was 3, yeah.
Because there was, Gar was the first first drummer, and he's dead. That's 2 dead Megadeth drummers, by the way, just for anybody keeping count. And then
Adler doesn't die.
yeah, and then I think the next guy's name was like Chuck or something like that. The guy that was on So Far So Good So What. And then of course Nick. But obviously in hindsight, the Rust in Peace lineup is probably the most lauded and
Absolutely.
popular lineup that the band had. So when he joined the band, did I know? I didn't think anything of it at all. But in fact, when the album came out, it took me a while to pick it up.
I don't even think it crossed anyone's mind at the time anyway, because we weren't used to the revolving door at that point. We had it, but it wasn't like it was, the coming years forward. So I don't think it really crossed my mind at the time.
Yeah, I have to say I wasn't paying. We didn't. What year was that? 90.
90.
90.
90, yeah.
Yeah, we didn't exactly have the internet. We had the magazines, but I was a senior in high school, and I guess I wasn't. Like, I was fully blown into metal at that point. Live, eat, and breathe it. But the small. You didn't have the internet to tell you every single little lineup change. And obviously, you buy the album, you have the liner notes. But and I'm sure at the time I noticed it then. But what I noticed most importantly is how great that album was.
Yeah, and I think I was probably focused a little more on Marty Friedman because I knew Marty as an instrumental guy and with Cacophony, and I was a guitar player, so it was sort of my focus. But certainly after Rust in Peace, I was like, oh, this lineup is awesome. We need to stick with this lineup, and they did for quite a while. That was probably their most stable lineup. And
how long were it was Freeman and Nick and Dave and together for?
I think it's only 4 albums, isn't it?
They were together up through Cryptic Writings.
Cryptic Writings, yeah. So
yeah, Rust
up
in
through
Peace.
97. Rust in Peace, Countdown, Youth, Euthanasia, and Cryptic Writings.
Yep, those are, in my opinion, the best albums. And I think that it's terrible. The first thing I thought when I heard this news was, shit, we're not going to get the Rust in Peace lineup reunion now, which is, of course, secondary to the fact that he's no longer with us. But
and, his name was getting tossed around a lot right before Adler joined the band.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, I read something earlier today when I was reading about him that he had been in talks with Dave to come back, and that they were even starting to write some stuff. And then he got his contract, and it was basically insulting to him in some way, whether it was money or not a full member or whatever it was. But he was insulted by it, and so it fell through.
It was kind of like the Michael Anthony contract, wasn't it? Basically.
I would guess.
Yeah.
Or Bill Ward or Dave Lombardo.
Exactly.
Why is everyone trying to screw the drummers?
Yeah, or the dude from Testament, the bass player or whatever. I know he was just a hired gun. So, or Dave Lombardo. Yeah, you said Lombardo, didn't you?
Yeah, I said Lombardo and Bill Ward.
Same thing. Yeah. So
Going back and reading, reflections from people online and stuff. A lot of people said that his drumming, we've all heard this album hundreds of times, that his drumming work on this album is, some of the best in metal, period.
Yeah.
And everybody on this album, so
Yeah.
definitely one of the top metal drummers.
He was definitely one of my favorite. Early after Jay heard the news, he posted on our Facebook, Day of Reckoning.
Yeah.
Reckoning Day. And the drums on that song are just fucking incredible. That's one of the songs where the drums, you can't ignore them. They're not, they're such a huge part of that song that, he will be missed.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to CNN and Fox and Rolling Stone and the New York Times just really doing this full blown front page top of the hour news cycle about the passing of Nick, just like they did with Prince.
Well, it's funny because I know you're being sarcastic here.
I am being very sarcastic.
But I actually saw it on CNN. I was very surprised.
What? Are you serious?
Yeah, if you go on CNN, it doesn't say it by name. It says
on the website.
Yeah, on the CNN homepage.
Okay, but not like top of the hour Wolf Blitzer Situation Room.
No, of course not.
Updated reporting, new information, breaking news about the surrounding the death of Nick.
It's on the. I've just pulled it up. It's on the homepage under News and Buzz. It says drummer collapses on stage, dies. And then
all right, good. I mean, I'm glad. I was being facetious, obviously, but I'm glad that he's getting some recognition on some major news.
Yeah, and then if you click on it, it says ex-Megadeth drummer Nick Menza dies after collapsing on stage. So yeah, I was surprised by that. I guess if you're one of the big four, you do manage to get some mainstream press.
I wonder how Dave feels when news like this comes up, given his rough history with band members throughout the years.
Well, did you see the tweet that he sent out? It was like, tell me it isn't true or something like that. And, he was very upset about the whole thing. So, regardless of their past history, I'm sure he's torn up. I mean, when Phil and Dime didn't get along, but when Dime was killed, Phil lost his mind. So, it's... I don't know. It's just sad.
Yeah, it's just sad.
I'll be honest. I probably wouldn't want to be at that show then. If you see that, if you're standing there and all of a sudden he just collapses, it's just a shitty thing all the way around.
There was someone on Reddit who was there last night, and they said they were into their third or fourth song. Everything was going fine, and all of a sudden, the singer turned around and, were crying for him. And apparently the EMTs worked on him for 30 minutes on scene, gave him a couple of shots of adrenaline, trying to,
Yeah, and they said two people from the audience gave him CPR. And
oh, boy. That sucks.
Yeah.
So I got nothing more to say personally, but other than it's a tragic loss again for the metal world.
Yeah. I was telling Will before we started recording that the band Ohm that he was playing for, he had just joined the band a year ago to replace their drummer who died from heart trouble.
Oh, man.
But
that guy was 663.
Oh, was he? Okay.
Yeah.
But still, it's slightly Spinal Tap-ish,
Is it
your drummer dies and then your next drummer dies.
Who was it? There's guys in the Grateful Dead, the one position player always died, and I think Pink Floyd as well, or is it keyboardist or something?
No, not Pink Floyd. Rick White died, but he was there the whole time up until he died.
I think maybe it's the Grateful Dead. Whoever the keyboardist is for the Grateful Dead, they all die.
Yeah, there's sort of a red shirt kind of thing for Star Trek.
Right. Yeah.
Speaking of which, Will's wearing a red shirt.
A red shirt.
Just wanted to point that out.
Philadelphia Phillies shirt. We're actually doing okay this year.
Yay, Phillies.
Yeah. All right. It's May.
Talk to us again in October.
Yeah.
Well, that sucks.
Yeah, and unfortunately Jay couldn't be here with us. We tried to get him on, but he is off the grid. Thank you.
So, John, we didn't get in closing. We didn't get you on for the recording of the pod, but Deathfest, buddy.
Let's do it.
Can you throw together? We did it yesterday. Can you throw together 3 or 5 bands you're most excited for? Maybe your one through 3.
I don't know. All right. So I mentioned to George earlier, Horrendous is going to be kind of cool to see. I want to see November's Doom. Paradise Lost. Those are all bands I like. All the bands you don't want to see, I want to see. So, what is it? Is it Mayhem? What are the black metal bands you don't want to see?
Yeah, he doesn't want to see Mayhem. He doesn't want to see Venom.
So I'll see.
Are they both making it?
Yes, they're both making it.
All right.
Yeah. Although I don't know how much I'm going to want to see Venom at 9 o'clock at night on Sunday or whatever it is.
After we've been 3 days.
Yeah, after 3 days in a parking lot.
Yeah, but Sunday is pretty much going to be chilling and not doing anything for me because I don't care about most of the Sunday bands. I'm just going to stick around to see Venom.
Yeah, I want to see them all. Whether I like them or not, it's a different story. So
yeah, well, there's plenty of places where you can sit down and still catch it without having to stand up and be part of the crowd.
But I guess the band I want to see the most would be November's Doom because they just don't tour at all. And they're from the States.
That was my number 3.
Yeah, I mean, I saw them once back 2005, I think. 2006 maybe, and that's the only time I ever saw them in the area. So that'd be cool.
Yeah, I picked up a couple of their albums either on Buke's or Buke. You really like those guys, right?
Yep.
Yeah, it was either Buke or you, John, or both of you at the same time, and
I like them too.
Yeah, I picked them up.
They're heavy as fuck. So
I love the Aphotic album.
Yeah,
years back,
awesome.
George was really hooked on one of them.
Yeah.
Pale Heart Departure is really good. So. Yeah, it'll be cool.
Yeah, and Friday is just going to be crushing. The last 4 bands of the night are The Haunted, I forgot. The Haunted, Somebody, Samael, and... No, Haunted, Paradise Lost, Samael, and Mayhem? Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
It's going to be oh my God.
Friday's probably the day I'll be spending the most time watching.
Yeah. It gets progressively less for each day for me, but Friday, it's like pretty much every band I want to see.
Yeah.
So
Now Horrendous is a 3-piece, aren't they?
I think so, yeah.
Yes, they are.
I want to see them pull that off with that sound. That should be kind of cool.
Yeah, they were my number one.
Yeah.
They might conceivably, I don't know, it depends on how hardcore they are about being a 3-piece. They could bring some, backing people in.
It's true.
Every time I've seen videos of them live, it's them as a 3-piece live.
Full.
Right on.
Yeah.
Well, like when we saw Analnath Rock, they're like 2 guys, but when we saw them at Deathfest last year, there were like 5 people on stage. So
Yeah.
Is Horrendous from Philly?
Yes, they are.
I have noticed because Decibel Magazine is published and the headquarters is in Philadelphia, and I've noticed that they like the Philly bands in Decibel Magazine. They love Horrendous.
I think
Yeah,
Horrendous is actually named after the Philadelphia Flyers fans. They didn't want to do like Raging Douchebag, so they thought Horrendous would just be a little bit better.
Hey, earmuffs, William. My son's in the room.
They're great people.
Remember a couple episodes ago, George, you came up with that list of things you can't say when I'm trying to listen to this in my car with my kids.
This isn't any worse than what we said yesterday.
I know. I had TV show on.
Right. Sorry.
No, anyway, I'm sorry. I'm just joking. He went upstairs.
Okay. Well, I guess we should wrap this up and end the episode for real.
Unless something happens tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
No more tomorrow.
Yeah. If anybody dies tomorrow, they have to wait for the next episode because this is getting finished up tonight and posted tomorrow. So
George, for anyone listening, I'm assuming we're gonna grab the Cougar Bush and taking it everywhere and doing a lot of
Yep.
midday Friday little segments and meet up with the Nine Circles guys and anyone else we see there.
Yep. Buke's going to get his own dedicated Cougar Bush so that he can run off and do interviews. And then
You guys are more than welcome to join me for any
it all
interviews I
depends on when they are as to whether, who will be going and when.
Buke, do you get a press pass?
There is
We
no.
don't do press passes.
Yeah. Hopefully they will allow us to bring in the recorders. I wrote to them and asked because they didn't have it on theirs. They're allowing DSLRs. So presumably you can bring in whatever you want.
With the DSLR, that's with the assumption that you're going to be videotaping it as well.
Well, that you could. So therefore, why would you disallow a digital recorder? You know? So we'll see. I said I wrote to them because their FAQ didn't have anything on it. They didn't write me back, so fuck them. I'm gonna if they don't let me bring it in, I'll give it to Buke, and he'll find a way because he'll sweet talk somebody into letting him bring it in. It's the way he rolls.
Right.
So
Baltimore, guys, Baltimore.
Yeah. If all else fails, we'll just record in the parking lot and
have the artists come outside.
Yeah. So.
You guys will see. It's crazy how much press Deathfest gets, and the operation literally is like a couple dudes put it together. It seems so chalant, just whatever,
Chalant?
nonchalantly, nonchalant.
That's nonchalant, So what is chalant? If it's nonchalant,
I don't know.
I'm not asking you. I've never actually thought of that before. I've used the word nonchalant all the time, but I guess
is it technically nonchalant?
It sounds French. So there's chalant probably is like French for asshole or something. I don't know.
Yeah, chalant probably means like stick in your ass.
Yeah, and so if you're nonchalant, you have no stick in your ass. Anyway, all right. Well, we just wanted to throw in our 2 cents and give a little praise to Nick Menza on his tragic passing. And
rest in peace.
Thoughts to his family.
Definitely.
Yep. Rest in peace, buddy. All right. We'll see you next time.